County Board of Commissioner meeting will come to order. Let the record show today is February the 5th, 2020. The time is 9 o'clock a.m. Mr. Bob, would you like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, sir?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Madam Clerk to the board, would you conduct the roll, please?
Commissioner Flower?
Present.
Commissioner Candace?
Here.
Commissioner Prince?
Here.
Attorney Clint Smith?
Present.
And clerk to the board, Kelly Kemper, present.
What are we going to do with this guy?
I'm glad you're here.
Now I'm working over it.
Won't give him a mic.
Yeah, he's working. Don't expect to hear anything from the attorney for a while, because he's working. He is on a mission.
Funny.
Audience introductions, Mr. Lynn, would you like to begin?
Rodriguez, Airport Board. Bob Jolly, Airport. Ron Rodriguez, Concerned Citizen.
Ashley Powell, student.
Okay, welcome. Good morning. Thank you for being here. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you. I just wanted to welcome Ashley Powell. She's a student at Pikes Peak Community College, taking a government course, and asked if she could sit in, and of course, everybody's always welcome to sit in, if it's okay with the chairman. Normally, we reserve comments and questions for specific times, but if there's something that really is perplexing you, Ms. Ashley, please raise your hand, and hopefully the floor will recognize you and will help you get your answers. So thank you for coming, and congratulations on being in college, and good luck with your government class. And I'm sorry.
So this is kind of research for you today to observe a
Yes, sir.
government body functioning?
Well,
Okay, good.
You mean sausage being made?
Well, depends on who's speaking, I guess.
That's right.
We're not gonna go any deeper than that, are we? Yeah, so,
Disregard all
yeah. The chair will dictate there'll be no ripping of any documents today.
that.
I couldn't help it. I couldn't help it. I had to do it. I know, you wanted to, didn't you?
That was his line.
That's right, that's right. Amendments to the agenda, gentlemen,
I have none, sir.
nor do I.
No.
Approval of minutes, I have none. Commissioner items, Commissioner Prince, would you care to start us off?
I didn't have any formal meetings yesterday other than the Westcliff Town meeting, and I just, as I mentioned to both of you, our draft letter concerning the single point of contact for our conversations with CDOT in the fiber project. I presented that, and Paul Linke said he thought that was just fine, so he was willing to sign it at that time. Also, Buck Wenzel was there, and he read it, felt it was acceptable also, so I assume Mayor Laswell will sign it.
Okay, yeah, it's on the agenda later, so.
Oh, is it? I'm sorry,
Yeah,
I didn't realize
first
that.
item underneath
Yeah, there
there
is. Okay.
Okay, anything else, sir?
I have nothing else.
Commissioner Candace?
Couple things, reviewed the landfill applicants. We still gonna work that?
Yes.
I did that too.
And you know what, if you don't mind, oh, it's on there, we're good, yeah.
Okay, and talked with a lot of people because of snow and stuff, and the cold. Not a lot we can do about the cold. But let's see, I did get a comment on this system, how they hear us on this meeting, this live streaming. Couple people have said it's no better. So I don't know what that means. Either we're not getting close enough, or something's getting scrambled. So I'll talk to Vern. Vern said there may be an issue with the servers. There's two different servers, and they're not syncing up or something. I talked to him yesterday a little bit about it. So maybe it's something I should think
we'll
about when I
probably-
talk. Get a little closer to the
I
mic.
think we need to utilize the mics a little better, I'm not sure.
I think that's
Because
probably.
the day we started out, it seemed to really make a difference, so.
And I asked Vern
Just
about
may
it in
have
the
to make
meeting
a
yesterday. He
point.
said, boy, is this making a difference. You guys are coming through loud and clear, but sometimes we sit back and start talking and
Right.
it fades out.
Yeah,
Just a
yeah,
comment.
good point, thank you.
And then I did work with Gary. I sent him that CDOT letter, or the CenturyLink letter, and I'll be working with him to make sure that people that have issues with the CenturyLink cleanup will get the word, and we'll send it to CenturyLink. And then the revised CDOT letter I have, and I just sent you guys a copy of that. So it's I had them take out anything that had nothing to do with the right-of-way. If in the future they want to buy some fibers from us when it's in, that's something to work. But I just sent it to you, and I'll send the same copy to the two towns, and we'll figure out how to coordinate their input and ours if there are any comments. So maybe we can do that later on.
Yeah, my email's loading now, so I'm assuming it's loading yours.
Okey-doke. All right, and let's see. Yeah, that's it. And I will talk with Paul and Steve as soon as we're done today. The
Okay,
end.
Thank you, sir. I had a couple of things this morning. Obviously, we just met yesterday, so. Rusty is planning on coming in this morning as soon as they get that equipment fired up at the landfill. He's gonna come in and review those applications and rank them as well. I spoke with Donna. She said you guys actually did rank them, huh? Okay. And then, so I gave her my ranking this morning, verbally.
She was not there when we looked at them, so.
Oh.
I called her back and talked to her about what we did, so she knew that you and I had reviewed them and that we
Okay.
ranked them.
And then I also spoke with Rusty this morning about the date for interviews. He requested that we try to move that up the calendar as far as we could,
He wants to bail.
so that it
He's
would
selfish.
increase the transition time that he would have to spend with the new hire.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So I'd like to look back then and see, I would be available the 12th.
I have a meeting in the afternoon. If we did it in the morning, I would be fine on the 12th.
Okay. I'm in Denver on the 9th, 10th, and 11th, but I could be home sometime in the afternoon on the 11th if the 12th doesn't work. The 12th in the morning works for me.
Good with that, Bill?
That would gain us 8 days.
See, we don't,
The Arkansas Basin Roundtable meeting in Pueblo is on the 12th, but I know Keith will go to that. I was planning on going to it, but I certainly don't need to.
yeah, Keith. I can do the 12th in the morning.
Let's do it.
Okay?
9 o'clock?
Yes. Right now, that would be a tentative date.
Right. 9 to 9:30?
Let me shoot Donna an email real quick because she can talk to Rusty when he comes in this morning. So if you'll give me just a second.
Take it on, we had it on the 20th.
Had it on the 20th, that's correct.
Reset.
Rusty indicated that he asked, he said, is it absolutely critical that I be there at those interviews? I said, well, that's our desire, but if you can't make it, you can't make it. But that's when we were talking about the 20th. So hopefully this change to the 12th may expedite that. But yeah, he was very concerned. He said, man, the sooner we can get somebody on board, you know, the better off we're going to be, and have a longer transition period for him to train. So I did not get yours. I guess it's still loading. Did you get
Mine just
yours
showed
loaded?
up, copy just
Okay.
showed up, so it
Okay.
must be coming your way.
All right, I'll keep an eye on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does, that's for sure. So those were the two items that I had to bring before the commission this morning. Anything else, gentlemen, under commissioner reports? If not, we'll move on. I don't have anything on Upper Ark.
Meeting's still on that, I have to look again, but it's. I'll send out 21st, and I'll send a new reminder a week before to everybody.
Attorney items?
Only Jackie Hobby prepared a draft of some language for the zoning resolution regarding cease and desist orders to firm that up a little bit. She sent it to me. It looks pretty good, but I haven't had a chance to study it, so
Okay.
we'll look at it and we'll discuss it at a future meeting.
Okay, good. Speaking of that, I know Jackie had asked to be on the agenda for a staff report down in Wetmore. I wonder, gentlemen, if you would entertain the idea of just putting her on the regular staff report schedule on the first Tuesday or Wednesday of the month.
That's perfectly.
No reason why not.
I think we
She
need
should.
to kind of keep updated on what's going on and how many of the permits have been pulled and so on and so forth. So let me just look real quick. Do you guys have a preference of which day? Tuesday or Wednesday, or? I was gonna see
Make
about
it
the
on a
number of
less
staff
light day.
reports. Yeah, we've got 4 staff reports on Tuesday typically, and 5 on Wednesday, I
6
think.
today.
Yeah. So, I would move that we include planning and zoning staff reports on the first Tuesday of the month.
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded to include, planning and zoning on our staff report list on the first Tuesday of the month. Discussion? And I'm okay with her having that staff report on the agenda for the Wetmore meeting.
Yeah,
She's already
let's
on
do
it,
it.
so, and then next month we'll start.
And we'd like her to prepare and submit like everybody else
Yes.
does, a summary
Yeah.
of what's going on.
Yeah, I'll shoot her an email about that.
I think that'd be great.
Okay. Further discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries. I will convey that to her. Anything else, council?
No, that was it.
Thank you, sir. I wonder, anything from administrative assistant today? Yeah.
Breathlessly,
Yeah.
I'm good.
Okay, thank you. Public comment, if you guys, if you folks have anything that you'd like to talk to the commissioners about that's not on the agenda today, we'd be more than happy to hear any public comment. We good?
I have one.
Go ahead, Mr. Ron.
I don't know if it's a good place to bring it up, but has anybody received any letters from a company called Telecircuit through CenturyLink? I received one the other day.
Through CenturyLink, you say? or-
Well, they're saying that they're hooked up
Oh,
to
okay,
CenturyLink.
gotcha.
But they're saying our landline, we're hooked up, but we don't pay no long distance phone call. And this Telecircuit letter came in. I don't know how they received it. They have my name, of course, it's in my wife's name, the telephone bill. But they're saying that now they're charging us for long distance phone calls.
And CenturyLink is your phone provider?
And I talked
Did
to
you call
CenturyLink and said,
CenturyLink?
well, there's no third party here.
So it's
So we handle everything.
Right.
So
Scam.
I was just wondering if
I have
there's
no
a place to
idea.
bring it up, or just take that
No,
letter
it's-
to Sheriff Barley and.
Yeah, I
Look at it
appreciate
where
you
the-
bringing it up, because, number one, we're live streamed, so if other people are getting that same communication, it's a good opportunity for us to say, hey, you know, be aware of this. I'm not necessarily saying it's a scam, but if CenturyLink says they don't have any third-party vendors, then it sounds like it's a little.
Yeah, there's
I
no way.
touched base with
Were they
them.
asking you to pay something?
Well, it's a bill.
Oh,
Really?
And for some reason, they show my name, they show the landline number, and they're showing the calls that I made.
Right.
And those calls that I made are legit,
Right. But
You
you
know,
haven't been charged for long distance
but.
up until now.
CenturyLink is not charging me, but this outfit is charging me for those long distance
Okay.
phone calls.
Commissioner Kanda has kind of been involved with CenturyLink through the broadband project. If you would, I'm
Yeah,
just
let me have the
suggesting if you
copy of
want
that,
to,
and I'll send it to
I'll make
the
a copy
director.
of that letter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't bring it with me.
Yeah.
But I thought I'd bring it up and see if anybody else has heard of it.
I'll send it to them, and they can do what they may put a notice out to all their customers. All customers ought to be aware of it and ignore them.
I kind of looked to the computer and Google, and even AT&T's getting hit
wow,
through that same outfit.
yeah,
And then there's a customer service number on that letter. You dial that number,
nothing.
there's no phone service.
So if they send out 60,000 of those letters and they get 100 of them
Yeah.
back, they've made money.
I'll send it to the
Yeah.
CenturyLink director that covers all Colorado, and he can decide whether they should put out, I think they ought to put out a notice if it was
Well,
needed,
yes, you know.
tell everybody.
I'm not paying for it, but.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Well, good point. I'm glad you brought that
And
up,
they,
Ron.
and a very fine print says if you don't pay, they're gonna cut your long distance phone call.
You have them try.
Which, yeah, if you're with CenturyLink, I can't imagine them cutting your long distance phone.
Thank you.
Yeah, and you know what, if you want, I would recommend dropping a copy of that by the sheriff's office and say, hey, just want to make you aware.
I was gonna call that NBC schemers, scammers, and liars too, you know? Make it aware, 'cause I'm sure I'm not the only one.
Yeah,
I'm sure I'm not the only one that's receiving it.
Yeah.
They'll
no,
just add
I
it to
would
their
think,
repertoire.
We just got a mailer, the county received a mailer on another business that's actually a third party that doesn't have anything to do with what they were trying to represent. They'd scheduled a meeting here in the county on the 19th and 20th at a restaurant. We talked to the restaurant people, they said, we haven't scheduled anything with anybody, so.
A lot of people out there.
As Sheriff Byerly mentioned, he said you can expect a lot of scams right before the tax season when people are gonna get some windfall tax returns. Everybody's wanting a chunk of that money, so.
How do they get a hold of your number anyway to begin with? And then, are they listening to your phone calls? Because it shows the phone calls
Yeah.
I made, and those are the
Yeah.
phone calls.
Well, you
that
gotta,
legit.
that's a public number. A lot of people are in business to sell those numbers, so.
Yeah, I got a notice the other day from an insurance company that we deal with, and down at the bottom, it just said, oh, and here, we may share your information, including your name, address, phone number, and social security number.
What?
Yep. My wife called and you know what, give them the business, but, so, it didn't say they're going to, but it said they may. And so I don't think anybody's information is as nearly as secret and secure as we think it is. But, well, thank you, sir. Anything else, public comment this morning? Okay, we'll move on. Staff reports, Aeropuerto.
Hey, we're only 5 minutes behind, so you boys better keep it tight.
You know what, I never shake your hand.
But you've been to China. Well, I want to shake your
Long-
Good morning.
What year were you there, Bob?
Good morning.
You should have a mascot.
Yeah, I expected you guys to be wearing masks this morning, but maybe they're sold out. That's right. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Pretty nice, isn't it?
Yeah, joints don't look so good, but that's okay.
The joints don't look so tight.
You can adjust that microphone to your comfort level. No, not like that, sir.
Then you have to push the button. Yeah, you did it. It's on. You keep it down out of your eyes. Just talk to it.
Well, we don't have a whole lot this month.
I can hear your voice back there.
In January, we sold 155 gallons of fuel, and our current inventory is 1448. So far this month, we've sold 1/10 of a gallon.
Nice.
That was to Bob, wasn't it?
Yeah, for 46 cents.
I needed lawnmower gas.
No, it was to test the dispenser. It had quit working because cell phones went down, and I went out to check on it after doing some other stuff. We attended the Colorado Airport Operators Association meeting on the 27th, and found out that we did get our AWAS grant. We still need to get some paperwork from Division of Aviation, and it should be coming shortly. Julie sent me the other day a schedule for the installation at AWAS, and it looks like it's only going to take them 30 days to get it done.
Wow.
Month of July, is that what's
When
planned?
the ground thaws anyway, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sweet.
I guess it depends on the paperwork getting here from Department of Aviation and when it's processed and that type of stuff.
Is
Big
that a
deal.
matching grant? Do we have to come up with dollars?
We got to come up with some, and it was in our budget for this year.
So you've budgeted for that?
Yes,
How
we
much
already-
was the grant?
222,000, I believe.
Yep.
And it's a 10% match.
Excellent, wow.
That's a big deal too.
Yes.
We're the second, there were 2 airports left in the state that were municipal airports, and we were one of them. Now there's only one left.
And
There it was. Big
I
deal.
also talked to Division of Aviation, and they're moving our runway maintenance from 2022 to 2021.
On your,
So,
That's
That's-
another big deal.
that's
because
another
that's
big
another
deal.
$100,000.
yeah, but you know, we can probably do a lot of in-kind because we got a lot of crack material. So, you know, we should be able to do some in-kind to reduce our match.
You gonna paint that runway then, or is it gonna be redone a little bit this year? Some of the numbers are pretty weak out there.
Yeah, they're pretty weak, but it's got to be a special paint. We don't.
Yeah.
I don't think we can go to Ace Hardware and buy that kind of paint. Anyway, this year we're planning on a lot of tender love and care to the airport that needs to be done, has needed to be done for some time. We got a segmented circle that the segments are in dire need of paint. So I'm going to try to get some volunteers to help go out and try to get those things taken apart and painted and put back together again. Weed control out on the segmented circle we need to do, and if we get on it early in the spring, we ought to be in pretty good shape. The plow truck, we need to get the plow itself leaks down, and we need to probably, it's going to be springtime before we can get it into Road and Bridge to see if they can get something done with the hydraulic system on that. We had the hydraulic hoses replaced last year, but apparently it's not those hoses leaking.
on that
It's
seal of bypass
probably,
valve or
yeah,
something?
probably
Have you talked to
bypass.
Road and Bridge about
I did
Yep.
a
that?
So,
couple weeks ago.
and we need to get the tractor maintained, and I don't know if we
Same
probably-
deal on the tractor.
yeah,
Talked to
get
Gary
the-
about it.
You did talk to him?
Yeah, all they need to do, and I forget, you got charged a bunch when you had Four Rivers come up. It was,
yeah,
the
yeah,
county will do it.
yeah, it's pretty expensive to get,
Replace the filters.
What'd
yeah,
Gary say?
Said, "Hey, no problem, just bring it in."
yeah. Well, they're probably gonna have to come
Need
and
to
get
do
it.
it. Well, they'll do, you just need to coordinate it with you.
Yeah. I can't see us driving that tractor
No.
all the way to
I
town.
wouldn't
I
think
saw
so.
a tractor look just like yours out there on the highway, and I thought it was you.
No,
Coming back
was-
from doing it.
wasn't me. Yeah, when we got some needed maintenance that we need to do on the fuel system, some filters need to be changed and so on and so forth. We'll get those done. That's not coming up until February, I believe, or March.
Well, sooner than later, 'cause they're not as busy on maintaining other things too.
Yeah. And we got the 2 hangars that are currently under construction are just about complete. Otto's about the only thing he's got left to do. He's already got his gas put in and everything, so he's got his apron left to go, and Mr. Legree's got hangar door issues. So,
You do?
yes. And 2020, I guess this coming year, we got T hangars going to get started. Going to be building 5 T hangars out there, and Mr. Lavenue is planning on getting his hangar started on, I think it's lot 3 at 80 by 80. So that's what's going on at the airport.
Are the T hangars going to be metal clad?
Yes, yes. It'll look just like the rest of the hangars.
Gary told me when you do that, and you guys have talked to him, there's plenty of dirt to fill
Yes,
where
yes.
the other 3 can
Yeah.
go, so that's,
We got plenty
you
of
sit
dirt.
and get on that whenever they get
Yeah.
out there to do it.
Go ahead, sir.
Have you heard anything more about the pavement where the fire truck bashed it in? Is it still needs to be repaired?
No, we got some paperwork filled out, and I saw something the other day from Donna. They're wanting some pictures. I took some pictures yesterday, or day before yesterday.
Is it the insurance company?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they wanted some pictures. So I took them on the cell phone, and the wind was blowing about 90 miles an hour at the time, so I don't know how they came out. But I'm going to stop in and visit with her for a few minutes after this meeting. So,
Is the fire department planning on paying for any of that, or is it just going to be an insurance claim? that we're gonna
Going through
make?
their insurance, Jay, they're just turning it over to them.
it's all the same insurance company, I believe. And anyway, that's it.
All righty.
All right, sir, thank you. Any other questions? Okay, thank you, appreciate it.
So if I want to know where Lynn buys his Levi's, day like this, I could use a pair of those.
Thank you, sir. Office of Emergency Management, Ms. Meredith, good morning.
Thanks for seeing. We're going very out of order.
I see you came in today.
You did the tradition. Yes, good morning.
How are you doing? Good.
A few things to highlight out of the report would be,
Okay, just a second here, and we'll,
you're not already on it?
assuming we have that report. I do not.
I got it.
I got
It's just says
Meredith's on
February
the stick.
2020 is what it says.
it. It would be nice if I was on the right agenda for February 4th. See you guys, thank you.
See you later, Bob.
Yeah, I was on yesterday's report packet. Sorry, I was
No
looking
worries.
something up, so.
So we're gonna go ahead and, with the purchase of the coroner vehicle, the Homeland Security grant, we're gonna meet with our, Alyssa and Vernon and get that squared away. And then, so that'll be good to get all done. Hopefully we can get that purchased or that snowballing to February, get that done. I submitted the hazard mitigation planning grant.
Before you go on, can we back up a little on the vehicle?
Sure.
Where's it coming from? You know,
Coming from,
who we buying the vehicle from?
the RFP that we, or the, kind of the
Bid
that we
Question
went
bid.
in with the grant, I think it was a Ford dealership, but, I just wanted, we're meeting before we even start that, because
Okay.
I wasn't part of the person who went in with the grant, so I want to make sure I have that all squared away before I,
And then our match, you had that in your budget,
Yep.
correct? Okay, good.
so that's all
Sweet.
good. Yeah, so the hazard mitigation planning grant, I worked with Town of Silvercliff and Town of Westcliff to get their letters of intent signed and all of that, and so, we'll go forward with that. All that work's gonna be done in 2021 though, so it's just the grant for that. Had a good CES meeting on the 21st of January. Kind of the main things.
Okay.
If there's any other questions?
And you sent your paperwork in for your training?
Yep. That's all good?
Okay.
There is a new part of our, we EMPG grant is that our timesheet has to be signed each month from us and our supervisors. And so, you can sign that timesheet.
Okay,
And that's gonna be a new add-on for each report now.
okay. Can you include this with your report?
Yeah, I was just notified of it.
Okay. Just give us a second, we'll review that. I don't know, we're cutting in and out a little, but,
Keep your mouth closer.
well, she was doing a great
Heard
job,
she
and then all of a
wasn't.
sudden,
Yeah,
both
it did,
mics.
sounded like it, did,
So-
yeah.
I'm just trying to see, yeah, I can hear me, so.
yeah,
You just
they
gotta get
sounded
close
good
to
when
it.
they're working.
It's working, but.
And so this is for the month of January, correct? Okay.
And then,
When's it have to be turned in so we don't miss it?
it just has to be each month, and then,
We're working now.
each quarter, each month has to be signed, and then I send it in at the end of each quarter.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. So we're not holding anything up.
No.
So I would move we authorize the timesheets for Meredith for
Second.
OEM. Second, it's been moved and second to authorize signing the timesheets. Discussion, hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, pose nay. Motion carries.
It's gonna take a vote every time we approve her time. This doesn't
I
make
look at it
sense.
kind of the same way as we do BSO. It's a document being sent in and we're signing it. I can sign them if you want, but same with BSO. I mean, we do that every month, so I don't know.
I'd rather look at it. I think it's
Okay.
fine. Let's do the like
Okay.
we do VSO.
What hours you put into that?
Yeah, so it's, since I am, everything that I do within emergency management is the EMPG grant, so.
Yeah, that's all tied to the MPG grant, right? So,
Fair enough.
Yeah, and then a project that we've been working on for the South region has Fremont, Custer, Pueblo, Los Angeles, and Buffalo County is a MOU between all of our offices of emergency management, and so that whenever, so that, for example, the spring fire, we had Pueblo there, Custer, Fremont, all of us added in, and so, we wanna kind of put more in writing of what we're gonna allow, the timeline and all that, and so, if you guys are okay with it, and have Clint look over the MOU and have his edits, and then I can bring that back to the committee, and then have a final MOU to bring to you guys to sign.
okay.
And what's the purpose of this? I mean, is it
So-
just
so
so you're
for-
all working together?
Yeah, so in an emergency situation, we would go, I believe it's 36 hours for mutual aid, and then that also now includes EOC personnel and equipment, and so,
So we do that before.
right.
What's the
we've done
difference
it
now? They
before,
just
it's
increased a
in-
couple
no,
things?
it's just in writing now.
We're just gonna
Oh.
formalize it,
Yeah.
it appears?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's fine.
So, here is two different versions. One is Pueblo's edits, and then Fremont County's edits from Pueblo's edits.
So the document came from Fremont, or Pueblo.
Yeah, so we as a committee wrote it up. Pueblo looked at it first, had their edits, and then now we're sending that out.
Okay.
Have you added your edits to it yet?
I had our edits from the beginning.
Okay, so you're.
You were good with it
I
to
am-
start with.
yeah.
So what's the final version, or these are two different?
So Fremont's would be the final version as of now,
All right.
but there's
They,
not
did they include
final
Pueblo's?
draft, I guess.
Did they include Pueblo's edits?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
so,
So just give him that free.
They took Pueblo's document and
yeah,
added
and
some
added
edits.
things,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
so,
And you had your input on Pueblo's original.
correct.
Okay. Is there a name of that group?
The South region.
Oh, that's part of the South region, okay.
Yep.
Sweet.
And then, I wanna kind of put something on you guys, your all's radar. So I know starting out with the position, very certain about the no overtime and no comp time, which is fine, I've agreed to that. So I was wondering if I could switch my hours to 410s as part of the, kind of give and take of that a little bit. So I would still be on 24/7, on call if something happens. If something does happen on Friday, I would still come in. It's just something that I could, manage my time a little bit better, maybe.
If you got a call on Friday, you still get them.
Oh, yeah, exactly. So even on a Sunday, I get a call, I still come in, so it just doesn't.
Sure.
And you're thinking Monday through Thursday
That's
then?
fine, yeah.
And your hours would be, have you thought about that, 7 to
No.
5 or?
Yeah, that's kind of, 7 to 5 would be fine with me. Just wanted to kind of leave that one up to you guys. I would still, anytime I have a meeting, it's beforehand. It's scheduled with whoever it is. There's no, again, like if anything does pop on a Friday, I
Right.
would
I was
still.
gonna say, if you had a meeting come up on Friday,
Exactly,
you would still attend it.
yeah.
So, just a quick thought, let's say you had your 40 hours in on Thursday, you probably know this ahead of time, but let's say an opportunity come up to attend a meeting and you'd already had your 40 hours in, then you would just probably attend that meeting and then do something, readjust the following week? Okay. Commissioner Prince, you had a comment?
Well,
Or
I'm just
question?
a little concerned that it's not in our policy, employee policy to do this. And if we do it, are we setting a precedent that other employees can come and say, look, I'm with whatever organization and I'd like to do the same type of thing? I have some concerns. It's not that I don't want to accommodate you, but I do have concerns for the entire organization doing something like this.
Yeah, we do have one office on a 4-day week now. They're open 5 days a week, but their employees are on a 4-day week, so, I don't know.
That's the treasurer,
But they
right?
got
Yes.
The
somebody
treasurer,
covered.
that's an elected
She does.
official
Right.
who makes their own decision. I'm talking about people who report to us.
Right.
So I'm just,
Do you need an answer
I
right
just
away?
wanted to put that
Okay.
as
Okay.
a question and maybe next month at the staff report, I can.
you do 410s too? Was that authorized?
Well, we're all on 32 hours a week, so.
So that's different.
Wait a minute.
Public health, including Alyssa, is 32-hour week. They're not on 40-hour week. So they really work 4 days a week.
That's,
But that's
a different deal.
It's a little different
but
deal.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Okay, I'm with you.
okay. I think we,
So, yeah, we can talk about it next month, staff report.
okay. Yeah, let us digest that a little bit, do a little research, speak with council, and you know, I want to honor our employees across the county as much as we can with whatever that happens to be, but I understand Commissioner Prince's question or concern about it as well, so, yeah.
Well, I worry about you anyway, Meredith, because a 7 to 5 hour day is a tough day, and you know, it's, I know you're awake at 7, and I know you go,
I mean, that's, in all honesty, that's the hours I work already.
right, I know.
And you're 40-hour week, right? You're full-time?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
All right.
usually work a little bit more than that.
Salary guys do that, that's what happens.
Yes, oh, no, I wasn't a complaint.
I know.
Just saying that those
I
are
know.
usually the
Okay.
hours I work anyways.
Okay.
So upcoming, I'm going to the PIO training in Pueblo in March, which will be good.
Okay, can we stop right there?
Sure.
Because that was one of my things this morning, PIO.
Okay. Public information
We
officer.
just cannot let this keep fading.
Correct.
I certainly have not made the time to pursue that with this commission or really with anybody else, but I think we're gonna get caught one of these
Yes.
days. And we're all gonna look like a bunch of rum-dums if we don't get something lined up.
Yeah.
We see it on the news every day, state and national. Doesn't have
Right.
to be just a national news. We have to have a spokesperson for this county. So, you're going to a training, am I to assume then that you're
Oh.
not getting trained as the PIO?
No, so this was, this is basic information, like basic training within that, just to know in
Right.
general.
Okay.
Because even if there's not a major incident, questions still get fielded to emergency
Right.
management. And so even some search and rescue calls, I'll field
Okay.
that information. And so just knowing that base information, but that will not make me the PIO.
Right, okay. So was one of my questions. The other was, could we ask you to keep a fire lit under the PIO topic?
Sure.
It gets
Definitely,
lost.
that won't be hard.
Gets lost on my calendar, I
Sure.
can tell you that. But I
Sure.
think about it randomly. I think someday we're gonna have a huge event,
Yeah,
and then we're not gonna have a
yeah.
spokesperson.
For example, Warfano County didn't have a PIO in the beginning of the spring fire.
Right.
So now they have a position of PIO.
So what is it?
Fine.
Is it somebody that's there that doubles in, or is it a part-time guy that comes in, or is there?
It just
That's what we need to
Yeah,
know,
it just
stuff.
it just depends on however the county wants to set it up. Part time, but then also on call for whenever it does happen, because incidents always pop at the worst times. And then another option, I looked at different grants or funding options around, and the answer that I've gotten was that there's not a set grant that is for a PIO. However, if that position would be under emergency management, the EMPG grant will refund, I think we get 38% back. And so part of that salary would be refunded, just like mine is.
Sure.
Which I think we'd be crazy not to approach
Try
that,
to do it that
or
way.
at least look into that,
Yeah.
to try to say, let's run it under your,
So that would
your
be
budget.
my suggestion within that.
Okay. Go ahead. No.
Separate.
Oh, okay.
Something
I was
different.
just gonna
Apologize.
dovetail on
Go ahead.
PIO.
Please do.
So, I'm just asking here, because I really would like to get some traction behind
Yeah.
this. I guess I'm asking this to all of us, could it be a part-time position of a current employee? Are we gonna have to hire another employee, either part-time or full-time? Can we increase a full-time employee's salary now to include that? Do you think it would be overwhelming?
I
Those
think
are the questions I have.
for me, it depends on what that position is doing beforehand or already.
Yeah,
If
sure,
it is
take 'em
overwhelming.
online for full-time,
Right.
2-3 weeks at a time,
Right.
or whatever it is.
Right.
Yeah,
Um,
okay.
yeah.
Okay, well, I've got,
And also PIOs can do all the press releases. It's not just for emergency situations. It can also do the press releases for the board or for whatever is going on within the county.
You point of contact and
Right,
coordinate things.
right.
Whatever they are.
Whatever that would be. So if there's like rumors going around on Facebook, handling that of different projects that the county's
Right.
doing. So
yeah, I ask Alyssa, just as an example here, would your recent press release, would that go through a PIO typically if we had one, or would you do that as out of your office anyway?
Probably would, that particular press release would probably go out of my office anyways, but if we had a more organized system.
Right, and that could
Definitely
be,
could go through a PIO.
right,
It would be
It's like
great,
other
actually, to have a person that is professional, can write things using your input, and it's representing that
Yeah.
for the county. I mean, that's what others do. That's
I like the idea of having one person
Yeah.
where it filters all to that one person.
Right.
That one person then is responsible for making
goes to each
notifications.
office to get whatever need to get out.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'd hate for
Coordinate it.
the different offices to make
Right.
announcements and things.
And they do it
without
different
coordination.
styles and different.
yeah.
I mean, as example, I had 2 phone calls wanting to do an on-camera interview with news stations about our escapees. Me personally, I said, it's not happening.
Yeah.
I don't have that information, I'm not qualified to
But a
speak to it.
PIO could have done it.
Had we had a PIO online, obviously that would be
Yeah.
taken care of. Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am, you had a comment?
Well, I think that it's important to have depth in that position
Yeah.
as well, because we can't, I mean, just for instance, we can't just have Meredith be the PIO.
Right,
Because she's
right.
gonna be out.
She's
I
gonna be
can't just
jammed
PIO
up.
because I'm gonna be out doing stuff.
right.
But Cindy and I are both going to that same training,
Mm.
so I think if we could get, 3 or
Yeah.
4 of us, I think it should always still be one person
Right.
that stuff goes through, but if we had,
But a little
Redundancy.
subcommittee driving us to that.
Redundancy is
Because,
always good, yeah.
go ahead, no, you're fine.
I would almost be inclined to see what department could really use a part-time helping person we hire a new individual who is PIO and
Slash something
assistant
else.
to whatever
Right.
else we need.
Yeah.
So, and then the position where they're slash, they can do the PIO if there's a major incident, we take them away from that, so it wouldn't be
In
a
effect,
crit,
it could be a full-time position,
it would
but
be, that's
half,
what I'm looking at, half
in half, or whatever
PIO,
part-time is
the
the
rest of it
base,
as an assistant to whomever
Right.
needs something.
recognizing some days can get busier than
Yeah.
others.
We could ask our administrative assistant to serve as a sorry.
Y'all, I got a release today.
Instead of 4 days a week,
Y'all.
that would become 6 days a week. So we're going the other direction.
I would just like to decline.
Okay.
Being no.
Respectfully decline, right? Yeah.
Respectfully decline.
Yeah.
Funny.
Well, yeah, and I think to Commissioner Canada's point, eventually that PIO is going to stand in front of some television cameras. It's
Right.
not a matter of
Absolutely.
if, it's a matter of when.
And then also within that, though, is the PIO is a lot of times, sometimes that person will do the on-air interviews and stuff like that. But if it's an incident, giving talking points to the
Right.
elected officials
Right.
so
Right.
that whoever that is prepared for that
right.
conversation. So
Yeah.
it's a balancing act in that. In some situations, yes, the PIO. In other situations, it's good to have that elected
You
official.
gotta have,
Right.
Yeah.
but the
But we need
PIO
that
is-
structure. I mean,
Definitely,
we can't
definitely.
just be shooting from the hip about something
Yeah.
we heard a little bit
Yeah.
about, which is
Yeah.
where I would have been had I agreed,
Yeah.
so. Okay, well, yeah, and you had something else, Commissioner Prince. Go ahead.
Are we done with
PIO, I
Okay.
believe we are. yeah.
I'll bring it up every
Can we
month. don't worry.
dismiss her now? Is that what we're
I know,
doing?
'cause he has a
You
question.
got something
We
for
need
her?
to move forward on that. I was
Yeah.
just gonna ask a question about your intern program with the school.
Yeah.
Yeah, when, do they come to see you? Do you
Yeah.
go to see
So
them?
I had my first meeting in January,
Uh-huh.
and it was after school. She came to the office, and I had her do the ICS 100, 700, the FEMA certifications. We talked through that, and then we also talked about in general what she wants to do, and then the different directions that she could take, and what college programs and stuff like that.
Very cool. I'll commend
Yeah.
you for that.
And then she's going to be at a psych first aid training in February. I think in 2 weeks or something. So she'll do that. So
And the school picks the person and.
yeah. Well, she had interest. So I went to that career day, and then she had interest in emergency management, and then we set up that mentorship program through that. So
That's through the high school?
Yeah,
I
through
see
the
that
high
now. And then you mentioned a master student.
yeah, he was doing a project over different different emergency management programs, and he wanted to see the difference in rural versus front range, and then what challenges we have as a rural frontier community versus high resource, high capacity that is the front range. So, so that was really good.
Um,
And
Where's
yeah,
your
any other
s-
questions?
Where's your SEMA conference at?
It is in Loveland.
Oh,
Anything you need, we're not providing to you that could help you do your job better?
Well, we have time. No, I'm just kidding. Yep, it's-
Besides 4
so-
days a week?
There you go. No, so far so good.
okay.
Let's get back to this. You satisfied with this version?
I am, yeah. I think the only thing Fremont changed was requesting party and
Assisting
assisting
party?
party. Yeah.
Okay, I mean, it looks fine to
Yeah.
me.
Okay.
Good, thank you, sir. Appreciate you looking at
All
that.
right.
All right, ma'am, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Yes, go ahead, sorry.
Our ID cards,
Yeah.
you've got a lot of.
Expiring ones.
employers
What's that?
and new
Oh
employees.
yeah. So
But
I will.
can't remember if you're doing them or, yeah.
Well, Alex was doing it when he was with me, and so what I'll send you the Excel sheet, and it just has the basic information that we need, and then I also need a picture from shoulders up on a white background.
Okay, that's the part Brenda used to do.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
That's something I can just do.
Mhm.
Or we
And just
can ask
and just email
Kara
me.
to do it.
It doesn't. Yeah, either one, and you can just email me them, and then we can. put
So
it
you
in.
can take a picture with a cell phone and email
Yeah.
that to you.
That's what
Mhm.
she used.
Yeah,
That's what she
shoulders
did.
up, white background.
You said when Alex was with you. He's no longer?
Correct.
Looks good to me.
Didn't know that. Hmm.
What?
Print out copies and tell them to take.
Don't run off. What's going on?
Well, because He's doing the IT GIS
The
now.
IT.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll visit with Vern about that later.
Well,
It's okay, go ahead, you're fine.
no.
Not gonna crucify anybody over there. I just didn't know that. I
what's
thought he was
going
still
on.
half-time you and half-time
That's what I thought.
IT.
Well, within the budget, so we had that conversation after I submitted the 2020 budget,
Right.
and I just didn't have you guys amend that,
We
and
amended
so it was. So within my budget, I just didn't have that. So
Okay. You didn't have salary for that
Correct.
half-time position?
yeah,
Is he still half-time with
I
Vern, or do you know?
don't know
Okay.
that
Well, that's
for
why I said,
certain.
we'll have a conversation with Vern about that, okay.
okay.
So he is not spending any time at OEM?
He does like some like alert and warning stuff, but that's more of like the GIS.
Right.
Yeah, he's
side
doing,
of
that's
that.
what I thought Matt what he
Yeah.
was gonna do with you.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, very good. Anything else?
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks. Appreciate you looking at that.
You're welcome.
Have a good day.
We'll get a bill for it, I can guarantee you that.
I'm at 250 an hour now.
He's not
Oh, no.
opposed to double billing.
It took me 3 hours to
I'll
read
pay
it.
you in
Just-
coffee. I'll be fine.
All right, yeah,
Before we move on.
Commissioner Prince, before we go on, go
Yeah,
ahead.
I just want to mention to Ashley, what we're doing, if you didn't catch on already, these are all the departments that report to the commissioners, and once a month, it's a 2-day process, they come and tell us what they're up to, what's going on, so that if they have issues, we could help them resolve their issues, and we know what's going on. I just wanted to give you what is happening, just in case you were going, what's going on here? I just want to give you an update.
I didn't know that's how it worked.
Yeah, that's a great point, and I cut Meredith off. Yeah, Meredith was getting ready to define it, and I interrupted her, and I apologize for that. PIO is the acronym for, excuse me, a Public Information Officer. So if we have a public information officer, that is the clearinghouse for information to go out to the community, out to the state, to the feds, whatever, so that we don't have 6 people giving their own slant on, let's say, for example, the escapees recently from our jail, that we have one person that is taking all that information in and then disseminating it back out instead of 5 or 6 people giving different versions. That's really what it's about. Comes into play, obviously during critical events, fires, floods, major accidents, things like that. But they can also do more mundane day-to-day or week-to-week press releases, public announcements, that kind of thing. So, yeah, we get caught up in the acronym world too, and we tried not to do that, but
I tried to define it.
I know you did, and I'm sorry. We knew what that was, but didn't think about the audience, so, yeah.
A lot of government agencies
Good
and
point.
commercial companies have professional spokesmen that are, public information officers for that company or that agency or whatever. You'll see them on TV all the time.
Okay, all right, good. Public health? Good morning.
Morning.
You're looking southwesty today,
Good morning.
Thanks, I got this for my birthday.
which was,
In
You haven't been
November.
to China today, have you?
I have not been to China today.
but I
Or anytime
heard something's
recently.
coming out of, he's been to your vacation resort place.
Tulum.
Hmm.
I
Mm.
went there alone, and it wasn't much fun being there alone.
Oh.
But I had a lot of fun at the ruins and the rainforest
That's
and
what
the
we did too, yeah.
restaurants. It was a
Yeah,
nice
it was
place.
amazing. And nothing's coming out of there.
No viral,
Except me.
okay, all right. We'll take you as a virus any day. Let's see, let me pull up your,
All right. So a few things I want to bring your attention to is, first of all, our health fair is April 4th, and I don't think we've heard from
oh,
anybody.
you have,
Yes, you have.
today, but you
Okay,
have.
I
Okay.
signed up yesterday.
Oh, good. Okay, good. Thank you.
So
I will
there's
too.
one
I
person who
responded
has it.
today.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Is it from her?
No, it's
person?
It's
from
from like,
her office, but.
yeah, it's from Rhonda.
No wonder I
probably.
didn't read it.
I signed up yesterday.
Okay.
All right, thank you for that. We are kind of behind on our volunteer sign-ups, so hopefully we get more soon.
Can I ask you a question related to that before we get into the weeds on some other stuff? So I see in the newspaper that, and I tried to commit it to memory, big article about someone else doing health
I
screenings
saw that too.
for $175 or
Mhm.
something. Seems to me a duplication of services.
It is.
And
that's
then
fine.
you could pay $19.95 a month. So is that a local group, do you know?
It's
or-
not, I don't know, I'm not sure what that
Yeah, I wasn't
really
either,
is
I just
about.
wanted to ask you about it.
Yeah.
Well, I need to ask her.
Yeah, I read that article too, and I mean, it's fine if you wanna not go to the health fair and do that, as long as people are being aware of their health, honestly.
Yeah, certainly a lot more money.
It's quite a bit more money,
I don't know what
So-
the average,
and I don't know like
Price of
what
the
the
health fair is,
turnaround
but-
is, like to get their results from
Right.
that. Health fair results usually come in about a week, 2 weeks tops. And yeah, you can get all of those services for a little more than half of that,
Okay.
so.
thank you.
Let's talk about Cindy for a second. She has been to all kinds of good stuff lately. She is now CPR certified, not CPR certified, but to be an instructor of CPR, which is gonna be awesome for me. That'll free me up another day of the week, of the month. She also is a rapid tag user, so she can make those, our rapid tag things, so that's awesome. That'll also help, Meredith out. And
Do you think it's appropriate if employees, at least within the courthouse, can come and get their picture taken and maybe start with, I hate to put this on Kelly, but start with Kara maybe just getting a headshot to get the photo thing taken care of, and then I don't know what would happen after that.
absolutely, and then actually you could just send it to either Cindy or Meredith, and then I think between Cindy and Meredith, they could figure out a time or however that works best for them. But yeah, definitely. Let's see what else. Cindy, and I both attended a tabletop exercise that Meredith actually orchestrated. It was in Canyon City a couple weeks ago, and it was fantastic. It was about communications and how we're gonna get the word out appropriately to not only our community, but people outside the community if that's needed. So, it was really good. That being said, I'll mention again that Cindy and I are gonna go to that PIO training as well in March. In Pueblo, there's a whole list of things to be like I don't know if it's even a certified PIO or like a delegated PIO person. Meredith has most of those things already done. Cindy and I have about half of those things already done.
Is that expensive? What's it cost to do that?
This doesn't cost us
Pretty-
anything.
I was just wondering how they sponsored.
A lot of it is FEMA training, so it doesn't cost
Cool.
anything. And then a lot of it is put on by other communities. There was one like in Grant County a couple months ago. So it really is just a collaborative effort for emergency preparedness people. So, yeah.
So what's the purpose for you and Cindy to go to that, just out of curiosity?
Well, two reasons. First of all, Cindy does a lot of emergency preparedness. She is our emergency preparedness coordinator now. And so if there was, let's say, coronavirus breakout in Custer County,
Bite your tongue?
knock on wood, then it would be our responsibility. Meredith mentioned that not always does the PIO the person in front of the camera, but it would be our responsibility to get the bullet points for you guys to
Got
speak
it.
in front of
Okay,
the
makes
camera.
good
So
sense.
from a public health perspective, if it was any kind of a public health emergency. And then the second piece of that is that we're trying in our office to help Meredith build depth in her position. So that's why Cindy and I went to the tabletop exercise. Cindy and I are also going to the emergency management conference. There's an ESF 8 track in that, which ESF 8 is emergency support function of hospitals and healthcare. And since we don't have a hospital in this county, public health is ESF 8 for Custer County.
Got it.
And so we're gonna go to that track and do some of that. There's also some other things that are very applicable to us at that conference.
Okay.
So we're doing that, and we got to go on a scholarship. We got a scholarship. So it's only costing us our fuel and, well, I think our fuel. Because
Meals.
So they'll cover lodging and,
lodging and meals actually
Nice.
is part of our scholarship, so,
Cool.
yeah, so that's really nice. So that being said, that's we're trying to do that just to kind of help build depth in Meredith's position as well, and because Cindy and I are both kind of in that emergency minded, that's kind of how we roll. It's working out pretty good, so.
do you know know what ESF 5 is. I could look it up here, but I saw it on Meredith's report. I forgot to ask her. about
It's
that.
like, that's like the Department of Homeland Security stuff, like,
Okay.
if I remember right, like, cause Christy Coleman runs that ESF 8, or I mean, sorry, ESF 5 meeting, so it's emergency preparedness management stuff.
I see you have a bullet point that Carmeline did a vaping thing. In an effort to at least try to support, show some interest and understand what's going on, I'd like to ask if you know some of these things are coming up locally, if you would let me or us know. I would be interested in just going over and setting in on some of that, so we have an idea of what our employees are doing.
Okay,
And I
absolutely,
think it brings value to them and what the job that they're
Yeah.
doing.
yeah,
So
definitely.
I would have definitely gone to that had
Okay,
I.
Carmeline and I actually did that together, but I wanted to give her credit for it. And it was just for the science class.
Right.
So, I mean, and you would have been welcome to come and sit in on it, John Tillotson did.
Yeah.
Just gotta know about it.
Yeah, so we will be more, we'll be more forthcoming
Okay.
about what we're doing. There's gonna be another baby presentation that we're gonna do at like a family night for the whole school. So we'll definitely let you
Yeah.
know when that is too.
Yeah, I think if part of the county's involved, at least I think we should know and have the opportunity to be
Sure, absolutely,
supportive in that role, so.
definitely.
That Narcan training would have been interesting as well, so.
So I do Narcan training for every single CPR class that I do. I could do a Narcan training for you guys right here, right now, if you
Yeah,
want me to.
no, good.
I mean, takes 5 minutes.
Do we get to shoot something up your nose or our noses?
No.
No hands-on?
You could, but it wouldn't do you any good
Oh.
unless you're high on opioids, which that would be a sideline conversation.
Yeah, let's move on.
Yeah, let's move on. Okay, very good.
So yeah, we'll let you know.
Okay.
In fact, I'll have Rhonda does a really good calendar for us of like everything that we're doing.
Okay.
So I'll have her just forward that to
Yeah.
you guys.
If you
as
share
well.
that with
Yeah,
us, I'd
absolutely.
really appreciate it too.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, and then I attended a couple of those kids' council, I can't even tell you what the group was, down in Canyon City, and then just got,
Oh, about
Tracy's still going, but,
about childcare.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a huge issue for us. As you know, we have only 2 licensed daycare providers in Custer County right now. There's over 10 kids on each waiting list for them. I did talk to a gal just yesterday actually, who is very interested in opening another certified childcare center.
Good.
And possibly even integrating some preschool classes into that, which would be
That'd be
sweet.
great.
Yeah, and this particular person would be fantastic at it, I think, so.
Okay. I'm gonna shoot you a note, I'm not gonna bring this up publicly, but, towards that end, so,
Okay. Thank
it's
you.
just something you may give some
Yeah,
thought to, but,
Perfect.
okay.
Um,
Anything else?
So we're on the ball with that.
Oh, yeah,
So, okay, let me talk about Pat. So we hired Patrick Fiore to be our substance abuse coordinator. He'll be a 32-hour-a-week position,
wow,
with benefits completely funded by the HRSA grant.
Cool.
Yes. So starting right now, he's 32 hours a week, and it'll be sort of kind of like what you were talking about with Meredith. Some weeks he'll work probably 10 hours, and some weeks he'll work 45 hours, and it's just and it'll wash out. So part of that's being funded by the HRSA grant. Another part is being funded by a grant that Fremont and Custer counties got for opioid abuse and
Big grant.
stuff. And then also the school has gotten a grant through the Office of Behavioral Health to do a position for them that will be like not only substance abuse but some bullying and stuff like that. So he'll be in on that and kind of helping administrate that. So super excited. He just started on Monday.
is he operating out of your office?
He is in from home.
Okay,
Mostly, yeah, because I mean, he's going to be out in the community mostly, and in Salida and Fremont County, so he's going to be enough out of the office that he doesn't really even. I mean, he's based with us, but not
He's a
necessarily.
county employee.
He is a county employee, just so that we can get his benefits. That's gonna be the easiest, cleanest way to get his benefit package. But it'll just be a pass-through. Essentially, we invoice the grant for all of the money that we spend from the county, and we'll be reimbursed.
And the name of that grant again?
It's a HRSA grant. I'm not sure if there's an actual
Okay.
name for that one. The other one is the Office of Behavioral Health block grant.
Okay. And then I have a question for you when it's appropriate.
Okay, that's all I have to say about that for now.
Okay. So I always love getting your board report. Do you have it?
Yes, sir.
Bullet number 2 under the immunization program. I want to sign up right now because I think I have shingles.
You mean shingles?
No, I think I have shingles.
Yeah, I was kinda wondering about
Bullet
that.
point number 2 under
I've
immunization.
been worried about that, Tom.
I'm sorry,
I've-
there's a R missing out.
I have demonstrated certain symptoms. So can I
I
set
feel
up
like
an
that might be
appointment?
another offline conversation we need to have.
I'm almost guaranteeing that would be
Giving
all.
us shingles right
He,
now.
he's been
Yeah,
to
I-
China too.
Well, if you wanna do that.
This is what it looks like when you get shingles, right here. I knew that's what you meant, but I had to pick on you.
All
I
right,
thought
thank you for
that was a
bringing that to my
new-
attention. I will.
I thought that's what you were calling the new shots, is what I thought it was.
I'd like
It
to,
is, I'm telling you. I have not had one person get it. I shouldn't probably say this on public air, but that has not had a pretty bad reaction to it. Like 2, 3 days to a week of
wow.
fever and general malaise.
On the
I
shingles
got
shot?
it, and I was fine.
Did you? Good.
Not
That's
from
one.
you. Not from
I'd like to go on record as saying our public health nurse is red in the face. All right, ma'am, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so one last thing I want to talk to you about
okay.
is, of course, the coronavirus, the elephant in the room, right? So I did speak with the gentleman that you talked to me about.
Yeah,
He sent me a very nice, detailed email about
Just some
his plan.
options on things.
Which he should be a planner for CDPHE because it is
That's what he did. in the
Exactly.
it
past,
is
yeah.
right on line with everything that we're doing.
Great.
Yes, so everything that he suggested is exactly what we're doing.
I'm hoping you indicated that to him,
I
right?
did,
That
yes.
We are already
Yes.
doing this stuff.
I did,
Okay,
yes,
good.
most definitely.
Good.
So,
And he's, he was just a resource, and you can feel, he just wants to volunteer to help
yeah,
whenever.
that's fantastic.
Good to-
So,
good
and
to see he's doing it.
if the bad day happens here, again, knocking on wood, I will definitely call
Grab him.
Yes, for sure. So, but I want you to know that we do have a system in place. In fact, we just drilled for it yesterday through the Healthcare Coalition. There's a task force set up at CDPHE in Denver, primarily because Denver is still accepting traffic from China into DIA.
Yeah.
So, that could prove to be problematic. Contrary to some belief, the risk is relatively low for Custer County for us to, even southern Colorado, for us to be exposed. Impossible? Absolutely not. It's definitely possible.
Right.
So we have plans in place. We have resources. We've inventoried all of our supplies and our human resources, and we're set and ready to go. So. hopefully we'll
Well,
keep
you know,
the wolf in the door.
no panic, but obviously Fort Carson's gonna be a quarantine location, one of 4 in the US, so.
Right.
They're gonna bring it into Colorado whether we
Keeping
want
in
it or
mind
not.
though that Fort Carson, it's not like they're just gonna be like, okay, you family take a coronavirus, you family
Right.
take a coronavirus.
Right.
Like they're gonna be quarantined.
Right.
They're gonna have all the appropriate air purification, thank you, that is necessary. And I posted on Facebook a little while ago, like it's not like it hops on a cloud and comes to Custer County or
Right.
even across the street from the quarantine facility. Like
Shake a hand or
Right.
sneeze on somebody.
it's droplet precautions, so that means essentially somebody has to sneeze on you and it has to get in your nose or your mucous membranes. That's how you contract it. That's why everybody's wearing masks, because
Right.
that's what's keeping
Right.
it from perpetuating itself. So.
Okay,
Okay,
all right,
now
very
I'm
good,
done.
thank you, ma'am.
Good, thanks for talking.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Shingles.
I'm not shaking your hand. Thank you.
I'm just
I
like,
appreciate you.
I'm the potted plant.
Yeah,
Yeah, it used to be,
yeah, we're just
Now
bookends here
it's
at
over
the
here.
table for the big boys.
get over it. Human resource, finance. Look at this water paper.
I know. Ooh, this is my first time at the new desk.
Is it? All right. Good morning, how are you?
Good to see you, Donna.
Morning.
Kara does have that resolution.
Oh, does she? Okay. Okay. Will you remind me,
I'll get the copies.
Kara?
Do you have copies of that? Yeah.
And I had sent the
Thanks.
handwritten, and
Yes.
so I brought one with.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. So I wonder by process, again, I don't mean to encumber us, but I'd like to keep things above board if we can, is, I guess I'm asking you two gentlemen,
I saw
we
that.
have agreed to address the handwrittens in a little more formal matter. Do you believe this is something that we should sign and then Donna could keep on file, or is it necessary? Is it for our information? I'm just asking.
My thought would be to protect Donna, so the question never comes up as to who authorized this and why did you pay it, even though you know you're gonna pay your bills. If we initial it, just like we do all the other bills, it certainly makes sense to me to do that, to keep consistent with all the bills that we pay. And I'm really thinking about protecting Donna.
You would keep this on record somewhere?
And then when you sign these, that is my second part
Right.
for the audit.
Yeah, that you can
So
go back and
that-
say,
yeah,
oh,
because the
they're
auditors
signed.
could question why
They're signed. It may come back on me. Why did you sign them? Did the board
And
know
this way
about
we
that?
have-
So, yeah, I kinda like the idea of at least initialing them and then
Sure.
she can
We do
keep
it for
that on
every other
file,
bill,
so.
the hand signs, we ought to do it too.
So I would move we ratify the signing of the handwritten bills in the total amount of $57,356.12.
It's a different number than I have.
Okay, let me look at mine then real quick.
Slightly different. I have 57, 560, 48. So something's different, but it's not
Mine
that,
was
I mean,
printed,
it's such a minor
Give me-
amount, I'm not gonna worry about it.
maybe I added the San Isabel or the San Crystal Electric bill after, since that was printed.
Okay.
And I would bet like
Yeah, I'm gonna look, we'll
205.
Yeah,
compare them
you
real
did,
quick.
You did.
So that's the one, Sangre.
So the one that I have,
Print this one out,
204.36.
yeah, because I
You just
got
sent
that
it.
right at the last second and I
Because I
did
have-
it.
Do you want me to just print this one out now and you can sign it? Ms. Kara?
Her Heather's.
Sorry to
put it on
interrupt. Could you, I think we just need one copy, don't we? Could you grab a copy out of the printer for me, please? Thank you. Jay,
so I'm gonna uninitial that one and we'll initial.
we'll throw
And
this
then
one
tell
away.
me the amount.
$57,560.48.
You want a hard copy? You want a soft copy?
No, I'm good.
Printer status not available, so let me go back and try it again. Sorry. So as a point of clarification, oh gosh, still not, so she's gonna come back and go,
57,560.48, is that what you
Yeah.
said?
So apparently I'm not online with the printer. So we'll, actually, I withdraw my motion. Second withdrawn.
Second.
Thank you, sir, appreciate it. So the chair would make a new motion to say that we ratify the action of signing the,
What do you change it? Oh, the amount? Did they get the new amount?
yes, that's what I was,
Oh,
looking at to make sure.
204.36 is.
Yes,
added
two
on
oh four
right.
36 was added on. So the
Yeah,
chair,
that's-
I would move that we ratify the action of signing the handwritten checks in the amount of $57,560.48 for the month of January.
Second that one,
Sorry.
unless you wanna
It's
do
all
it,
right,
Jay.
no, it's great. It's been moved and seconded to ratify the action of signing the handwritten discussion. Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed nay. Motion carries. You're welcome to continue if there's something else, ma'am.
And
Are
then
you
there's the
keeping
check.
the,
Yes, and I
are
can
you
just
the
put it
keeper
in
of
my
the-
book. Yep, I'll just put it in the ledger.
Do these need to stay in order for you?
No, I pulled them out so you
Okay.
didn't have to filter.
Thank you.
And, Rusty was just here, but I was here, so he was going to the shop, and then he'll come back and give his,
Oh,
overview
okay.
on there, so,
Okay, thank you.
uh,
So he did get in, huh?
on there. And so I will have that. You had said February 12th. I have not
Yes.
told him that yet, but I will when we go back.
Okay.
And so I've got it from 9 to 9:45, 10:30, and 11:15, depending on how it all turns out. Is 45 too long, too short?
I think it was what we talked about yesterday, 30 minutes to interview, 15 minutes in between.
Okay?
Yeah.
So I will let you know once I have accomplished that.
Okay, thank you.
And then these were just little packets. I know Rusty has some questions. These were packets of what I had came up with.
Thank you, yeah.
Some of it's just the normal, but
Okay.
kind of a different little questionnaire I had and some, the generic kind of questions.
And then as
Are these-
follow-up, I have questions.
Are these the questions that Rusty brought us yesterday?
No, I have
Those
those.
are just from my end, and
Got
if
it.
you just read, if mine aren't a part of it, that's fine, just so you could see if there was something that jumped out. that
Appreciate
make a
it.
copy
Thank
of
you.
Rusty's too.
I've got it. Yep.
What we're talking about is we have a landfill manager who's retiring, and we're in the process of setting up the process to interview potential replacements.
And
Is
these
what
are
we're
included
doing.
in
We're
this
looking at
document to do.
grading systems, questions to ask during the interview process, so that we're
All that's
organized,
through
so every
DHS, right?
applicant
Rhonda's
gets
signature was
the
on there.
same
File with her.
treatment, no one gets a preferential treatment. That's what we're doing now, is setting up the procedure for this to occur.
And North Gas, we did pay that 400.
Yes.
While he's doing that, what happens is, each of the departments that come before us each month, they send a report ahead of time, so we can read what they're doing, and then we have some basis to talk to them about what's going on.
Any question?
That way, we're in the loop of what's happening, and we can help them do their job better.
Oh, wow. Let the record show.
She's not pushing in.
What's that?
Miss Hobby's actually waiting to be called upon, which is highly unusual. Jackie, I asked her if she had a question. She said, I'm waiting to be called upon. Anything else, ma'am?
Nope, that is it.
We
for
good?
me.
Okay. So you're going to talk to Rusty again
Right,
this
I
morning?
will, he's gonna run the road and bridge since
And
I
then
was
come
in
back.
here.
Gotcha.
And then I will
Okay.
know
So you
more.
run the date and time by him and all that. Perfect. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Be ready for the grilling, because
You're going to include your ranking as well, or
I probably won't be necessary,
It's
but
up
yeah,
to you.
we'll, yeah.
you're welcome to if you want, as far as I'm concerned. Rank the
Absolutely.
candidates. If you'd like to, feel free to do that, Ms. Donna. Yep.
Donna?
Yeah, I'm just gonna run it through my picture. Okay.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Yeah, one of them. Sit on think
I'm-
you like those.
I'm trying to
Made
get,
up all your gummy bears.
no, that is not a true statement, sir. They are gone, that does not mean I ate them all.
okay.
I'm getting ready to get on a new mission with that jar, so you'll have to stay tuned and
Okay,
watch.
we'll watch.
Yeah. Next up on the agenda is the extension staff report. But do you have a question, ma'am?
Yes, it was come to my attention after
Chair recognizes Jackie Hobby.
the airport boys were over in my office, and they would like me to be with them on Wednesdays for my staff report. Would that be possible?
They would like you to be with them.
Well, I'm sure that's what they said, maybe not in that many words.
Okay, thank you. The only part of that conversation that we had was we were trying to balance out the number of staff reports on each day. We have 6 today, we had 4 yesterday.
Reason why is I helped the airport, and so they thought it would be a good fit if I went with them after them.
So if there's questions or whatever, we could, I don't have a big problem with that.
That's okay.
Um,
She needs the help.
So we had a motion to put you on Tuesday.
Did you want me to do this all the time, or just?
Yes, no, monthly.
I used to do it,
And, yeah, and
and
then,
then you guys told me that I didn't need to.
We changed
I
our
don't know
mind.
why we had a lapse there, Jackie, I'm
and,
sorry.
yeah, part of that motion was to ask, and I was gonna send you an email about all this, Miss Jackie, was to ask you to, provide a report ahead of time, just standard business, but,
I did that before.
well, before it doesn't come into the conversation today with me, I told these gentlemen I would let you know via an email, and now I'm doing it verbally, so, anyway. So we had a motion, it was approved, gentlemen, what's your pleasure about that? Do you want to just unofficially move that, or do
Yeah,
you
we
want to
can-
do
let's
it
just-
via a motion? Do
let's
you
just
want to ignore the
unofficially
motion
move
that
it.
we made?
I move we unofficially do it.
I would second your unofficial motion. So it's been moved and seconded to move the staff report for planning and zoning to Wednesday instead of Tuesday.
I'll second.
Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Pose nay. Motion carries, so that will be on Wednesday from here forward. Would Extension care which day they gave their report, they being you personally? So to balance this out, so we just don't get overwhelmed, then I would move that we move Extension from Wednesday to Tuesday. Is that okay?
Second that one.
Oh,
you
moved
move
and
it?
seconded to move Extension report from Wednesday, from the first Wednesday to the first Tuesday.
Thank you for being so nice.
Discussion? Hearing none, proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, pose nay. Motion carries. Thank you, ma'am, appreciate that. So now, Extension will be on Tuesday. Yeah, if we're not careful, we'll end up with 8 reports on Wednesday and 2 or 3 on Tuesday, so. From this date forward. Okay, Extension. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm well.
Set up.
Hi there.
Good to see you. You doing all right? Good. Good, good.
Yeah, she can.
I always have these thoughts.
Is this somebody's?
Yeah. So I'm gonna draft you a little note too, so I don't forget. It doesn't need to be part of the staff report, but
Okay.
I'm afraid I'll forget it if I don't.
Great.
Yeah. How are you?
Good.
I'll pull up your
Cold.
report while we're, yeah. The floor is yours if you'd like to
Whoa,
review.
I just kind of gave you an update on what we've been up to. Just a couple classes, and we had that financial management strategies workshop, which was also cold but well attended. And we're gonna work to try try and provide some more of those classes. And Farm Credit is just being really supportive of that, so we want to thank them for all of their support thus far. 4-H enrollment is at 64, and we have some people trickling in. March 1st is the official, like, you have to be signed up and all your projects and stuff, so we'll give you a more accurate number on the first, or the first Tuesday of the month in March. And I'm just excited. We've had some kids starting to engage in the state and regional leadership training, so I think that's really important to our involvement at the state level, and then bringing that knowledge back to our local members and kind of just raising us in our presence at the state and regional level. Ooh, passing notes.
Just like school.
You allowed that in your
Well, I was asking you to lunch. I didn't want to do it publicly. No, I'm teasing.
And I'm just really thrilled with Rachel. She's been
Good.
like, just a real go-getter, and just anything I ask, she has it done in like 5 minutes. So it's really awesome.
Nice.
We're starting a new Mountain Counties meeting, and with Teller, Chaffee, Park, Custer, and Fremont, and really looking at building mentoring programs through the extension personnel, and then other ways to support. Kurt Jones is from Chaffee County, and he's going to help me get lessons learned from their fire, so that I can work better with Meredith on how to prepare for emergency support function 11 when a fire comes. So that's really exciting, because I felt like I'm not sure what we would do in an emergency situation, so I think that'll lend a lot of knowledge to us.
Good.
County area directors meeting, these are annual. My boss kind of demands that I'm there, so I will be out of the office those days. And then I've been working on local pollinators presentation. I've learned a lot. There's like 963 bees in Colorado, just in case you were wondering how many bees there are.
That's all.
Total bees or total strains?
Species.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Clint was very concerned.
Yeah.
I hope so.
No, I'm not,
Okay.
but I'm allergic to them, so.
Oh, that's
Are the African killer bees one of them?
No, they don't really survive well in Colorado.
Good, that's
Yeah.
good to know.
Yeah, due to the drastic temperature.
Only reason I ask is I got a bunch of them between my chimney and the house flashing.
Oh, so they do live here.
And I
in the woods.
had a beekeeper come out and try to get them and lure the queen away. That worked for a while, but they can't. That's some air gnome must remain because they're back and forth. They
Do you
even
think
came
they're
out
Africanized
last week.
or?
Well, I was worried. I said, if I get up there, I don't want to
But
get.
you have bees.
Yeah, we got lots of bees.
And I've been learning about like how to attract which pollinators based on what flowers. So it's pretty cool.
Cool.
And then working with the Fair Board on their capital improvements project. Really just using my project management skills to try and get involved in that project. So that's exciting. And that's really it. Upcoming is just planning MQA, the speech contest for 4-H, the weigh-in, and all of like those shooting sports safety and things like that, arranging those. So that'll kind of be the February-March timeline.
You don't have a date for meat quality assurance?
I do. It's March 27th. It will
Okay.
be at the Wet Mountain Valley Fire Department.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, and then that's 4 to 7.
I would like to call attention to that because I think, again, it would be an opportunity for the commissioners to just come by
March 27th.
At what time?
4 to 7.
The last Friday in March.
Right. And so, meat quality assurance program, all the fair, I don't want to call them 4-H because it's 4-H and FFA, but all of the fair exhibitors that exhibit livestock have to go through this meat quality assurance program, and CSU and the extension office does a great job. They got a lot of hands-on stuff. It's very visual. It's pretty cool. If you've not been to one, I would recommend that you put that on your calendar and drift by there.
Is this at the
Fire station. It has been
Fire
at the
station.
Saddle Club building, but now it's down at the fire station.
fire station?
Yeah.
Thank you.
it's just neat stuff to just walk in and look at all the stuff they do. They got a lot of learning exercises.
You don't have critters there, just
No.
people.
They're all fake.
They actually have, yeah, and
Fake people.
they have,
Fake critters.
they have fake critters that they actually practice giving shots to in the neck or the shoulder or wherever,
I'm
so
looking
it's
forward to it.
pretty cool. I thought it,
It's just not normally my thing, but I think it'd be wonderful to learn.
Yeah, we'd love to have you.
and then I wanted to talk quickly about the shooting sports thing. And
Okay.
before I do though, I want to commend you and tell you, I think you're doing a great job with your management styles, particularly with that whole, long-term strategic plan and the capital improvement plans and that. I know, I just noticed a change as soon as you got involved in that. It was like, oh my gosh, we've just brought this up to a whole nother level of professionalism. Let's be accountable, let's make some decisions, and let's get on the calendar and that kind of thing. So I thought that was refreshing. And that meeting, I've got it written down, the next meeting. Are you planning on going to that in the Springs?
Yeah,
Let me look real quick. If you want to travel together, I'd be more than willing to
yeah, and
do that.
Diane Rose also offered too.
Okay.
so,
Do you have that date right off?
The 21st,
21st.
10 or 10:30.
I've got it at 10, but I
Okay.
thought I saw something maybe at 10:32, and that's in in Colorado Springs at
Yeah.
Kirkpatrick Bank. So I'll certainly attend that as well.
Cool.
So maybe we can all carpool.
It's also the day of the Blue Line Committee.
Is it? Okay.
Just wanna let you-
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
I think that was all I had. Any other questions, gentlemen?
Yes, I got one.
Go ahead, sir.
We were talking to the airport boys a little bit ago,
Mm-hmm.
and they mentioned they need a lot of volunteers, and that reminded me that we used to have an aviation program at 4-H did.
Oh,
And and then we talked about mentorships with the OEM and other things. So it seems to me we ought to be able to come up with a neat program with, since Custer County's schools already working that, be the mentorship kind of thing in the aviation world, as well as getting the kids out there to help them and learning about what this, got a neat opportunity to help get on the ground floor of some of the aviation stuff that's going on. So Bob Jolly would be the right guy, and Lynn LeGree is a backup.
can I get
I'll
contact
give you,
info? Okay.
I'll give you the contacts.
Do you know what kind of,
They do everything. They want to go out and paint stuff, like the segmented circle. What's a segmented circle? Kids can learn. It's a windsock, and it's a traffic pattern on the airport. A lot of things they can learn,
Okay. Yeah, they
and
do-
other things they got going as well.
Great. They do have a community service component, and traditionally that's been handled within the clubs, but, we can offer that as an opportunity.
Well, and then the aviation thing too. What happened in the past? They had like a rockets and a model airplane deal, getting kids involved, and there's a lot of board members out there that, for example, Bob Jolly is a former master sergeant in the Air Force. They've got a fighter pilot. They've got a U-2 pilot out there that can give programs. I mean, there's lots of things that are possible.
Okay.
Just
Yeah.
need to get a discussion and see where it
NASA,
goes.
former NASA.
NASA
employee.
employee at Johnson Space Center.
That's U2, not YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you for the clarification.
That's why we have counsel, isn't it?
Now, thank you for keeping me straight.
Yeah, and STEM, like science, technology, engineering, and math
Sure.
is a big program within 4-H.
Part of
so
it
that
branches
works.
out, and the engineer. I mean, there's lots of neat things, and they need the labor.
Okay.
Yeah, the other thing quickly that I wanted to just talk about, shooting sports. Shannon Byerly's brother, Todd, is now in charge of the high school trap and skeet club, my understanding is. So Sheriff Byerly asked me if the county would consider putting together some kind of a trap and skeet range at their practice range below the gravel pit by the landfill. So at some point, I'd like to put that on the agenda and have a conversation with Todd about that. They've gotten some donations. He recently received an electric trap thrower, but now they're needing a place to conduct those activities. So I think jointly between the 4-H shooting sports, the high school trap and skeet, and the county, that we could work collaboratively together to come up with a facility.
Municipal trap and skeet range or something.
Yeah, so Shannon and I drove down there and looked at that. I don't know if you gentlemen have a chance to see the sheriff's department shooting range, but it's down off of the hill. You can't see it from the road, but so I will talk with Todd some more and see about getting on an agenda when we can talk about that. Obviously, liability is going to be probably the big concern, but they're very excited about that, and the school's involved. So, you know, our original conversation was, what can we do to keep these kids from traveling to Penrose to practice and compete? Because very few people would go down there and observe that during the summer for the competitions, and I just thought this might be a great alternative to that. So.
I did talk to Shannon about that, and whenever you get Todd, I'd love to be part of this
Okay.
conversation.
Yeah, he reached out to me this last week via email, so I'll follow up, or a text message, so I'll follow up with him on that. All right, anything else for Guinevere this morning? Thank you, ma'am. Really appreciate you coming down.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Treasurer's report. How are you?
We saved you for the last.
I don't know, is that the best?
That's right.
Before we get started, because I'm afraid I'll forget, I meant to get this on the agenda today, or at least deal with it during commissioner items, and it got by me. Well, actually, it's on the agenda, but committed fund balance is where I'm headed.
Right.
I spoke with Virginia a little about that this morning. You want to share your thoughts or perspective on that?
I saw the resolution, and that's way wrong. You can't combine, it's like taking affordable housing and putting the landfill in there and the, what was the other one?
Landfill?
The Justice Center.
The Justice Center.
Yeah.
It's mixing them, you can't do that.
Okay, well, I
You
didn't
have to
even
have
look at it.
separate committed funds. If
Right.
we're gonna do committed funds, you have
But
to,
you have to have landfill expansion fund, then you need to have the Justice Center fund, because if you put them all in one hunk, you're not going to be able to keep track of it, and that's what our idea is, to keep track of it.
Right.
So if you put, you could have done the same thing with affordable housing, said it was a committed fund and put them all in together, and you're gonna have a mess.
Right.
So you need to have separate funds.
Okay, so here was my conversation with
Sam.
the auditor. Was really just exactly the opposite of what you just said. Because I asked him about that. Can we have a line item for Justice Center, for landfill, for whatever? He said the way to handle that would be to create a committed fund balance and then track those within that fund. My initial thought was to have a fund for every one of those because of exactly what you just said. And he said, that is not my recommendation. My recommendation is to create this committed fund balance and then track within that those entities that you want to earmark money for. He said, when we do the audit, there will be a footnote on the balance sheet indicating.
You know what a nightmare that would be for us?
And really, I mean, they're all within the general fund.
Already?
Yes.
And like so I have two funds that I track within my office. And they have a name, and we just keep track of those funds that are within there. And then when we do, when I spend money out of there, that's what we need to do with the Justice Center and the landfill, is have a landfill fund that's,
We already have, in county general, we have a landfill fund.
Right.
but I mean,
Right.
to keep track of that,
expansion.
expansion.
But, yeah, the landfill fund will be different than the landfill expansion fund. And,
Well, she's saying keep it as a separate sub-item within the landfill fund, so you could have a justice center or a expansion
Expansion fund.
tag inside there that keeps track of that fund. That was what I heard.
Right.
And I think Sam already keeps, I mean, they know all those little funds when they do our audit, right?
Right.
And so it wouldn't be any,
I
Yeah.
don't understand, go back to Tom's thing with Sam, I don't know the mechanics of how you track it, but to me, it's like a checkbook. You know, you've got different categories that you keep track of, and your overall balance is whatever the total is. And, it ought to be pretty easy to, I don't know what computer system, I know we have a problem with antique computer systems that we don't change, it's hard to move things. But I don't know, I don't see a problem either way, personally.
Well,
I
Sam,
like segregating them. That way there's never a question as to where the money came from, where
Yeah.
the money's going into. Rather than just one balance and then try and keep an accounting as to what goes into that. I'd rather see just separate accounts. Is that what you're recommending?
well, and that's,
Or a subset here, but in the specific category. So the Justice Center would have to be a separate one in that view.
Correct.
Because we
There's
wouldn't
not
want to
that many.
sub-categorize it under something like the
It's
sheriff's
not like we're
office.
gonna have 15 of them. We're only gonna have a handful, 2, 3. So it seems to me it just makes more sense to segregate them. That's just to me, but I'm certainly not.
Sam wouldn't object to that, would he, Tom? Or-
well, his recommendation was to create this fund. What I would ask maybe is if, could
Call
you
him
talk to
again.
him?
Yeah. Talk to him and figure
we
it out.
also need to get Donna involved because she's the other side of this story.
Right, and I talked to Donna about that, and she had also talked to Sam a month or so ago about that same thing, so.
And what did she say about having one committed fund and all these going in and keeping track of it? Because it's like burying money.
Right, she is the one that said to me, we need to get Sam's recommendation on this. She said, I'll do whatever the auditor thinks is the right way to go. That's all I'm telling you is what Sam told me, so, if, again, my personal preference was to do exactly what you were talking about, and he said, no, this is what I recommend you doing. So if you don't mind talking to him about
Yeah,
that,
I'll
he
talk
will
to you.
certainly know.
I did talk to him, but he didn't say anything about
Yeah.
having one fund for all of them.
Yeah, that
We were
committed
just-
fund
So,
balance,
We were just talking about landfill
right,
expansion.
so
and
so
let's
keep-
just,
my recommendation, Virginia, is exactly what Tom's saying. Keep in mind the goal. The goal is not to be dipping into something that we're setting aside. It's like a savings account, but not a CD, you know,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? It's just a way of tagging it so we don't accidentally get
Spend it.
somebody saying, well, let's go get it out of this fund. We got
'Cause they see
$1,000
it.
balance,
Yeah.
you know? So that was the only point, is just how you track it and make sure we don't, we have to physically vote to move it out of there for that specific use. Or if we vote differently, we can do that, but we need to make an effort to physically do it officially.
Right.
yeah, he will know. I talked to him Monday, so he will know what.
Talking about it.
Yeah, I might suggest you may say, hey,
We would-
commissioners are talking about this committed fund balance. Can we not have a line item that says
Separate.
landfill expansion, justice center expansion, whatever?
Because they're all in county general.
Right, that's right.
That's
They're
right.
all in county general.
We just don't wanna be dipping into it and county general getting messed up somehow because of
So anyway, I wanted to bring that up, and so I didn't forget to ask you about your perspective on it, which I appreciate that. So I'll be the first to admit that I don't understand all of the connectivity between your office, Donna's office, general fund, what we can do, what we can't do, how we earmark. That's the objective. We want to earmark this money the long term. So if you don't mind calling him, that would be great. Thank you. Okay.
that way when there's no carryover, you know, that we're gonna remerge into the general fund, it stays there, so it doesn't get lost.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, but those funds would carry
Well,
over.
that's what I mean.
Oh, I thought you said there wouldn't be any
Well, the
carryover,
point, what
so-
happens in our funds now, they just get dissolved and they get
Well,
at the end of the year and moved into the general fund.
right.
We don't wanna do that with
See,
this one.
affordable housing is actually in general fund,
Yes,
but you see it as a different,
Yeah, I
right.
get that.
Shows up as a separate line
Right.
item.
and that's what I'm talking about with the,
Right, and that's what I asked
Expansion.
him if we could do, and he
Yeah.
told me, he didn't say flat out no, but he said, this is how you should do that, so,
Let me make that a little clearer, what I really meant by what I said. At the end of the year, even the affordable housing line,
is still there.
it's
Money's
there, but we rebudget it with another.
Right.
But in this case, we would not be rebudgeting it, it would be carrying that money in that fund without merging it into the general fund.
Affordable housing kept their fund. all
Did it?
the way
Okay.
through. Yes.
All right, so that balance didn't get merged back into the general fund, okay. If that's the process we're looking for.
that's carryover,
It carried over.
yeah. Okay, we can go on then, sorry.
So let me ask this question, did the airport, they didn't spend $7,000 last year, did it carry over?
No.
See, that's
Well, no,
what
the airport carries over, yes.
it
sorry.
carried over too, okay.
Airport carries over, tourism carries over.
All right,
That's why they used to be in county general.
that's what I thought.
And they didn't
Okay,
carry over,
good.
but now that they
See, and I
are
didn't-
not,
Yeah, I didn't think they did, so, let me look.
So that means they got their budget plus the 7,000 they didn't spend.
right now they have, they had 7,521,65. That's the beginning balance this year from carryover last year.
Mhm.
And then now they have
Whatever the balance, okay, that's good to know.
8,718.
That's what we wanna have happen with this
The ones
fund.
that didn't carry over on your beginning balance are all the zeros.
Right, okay, well then, I think Bill and I both misinformed the airport.
We sure did, and that's gonna help me, that's gonna help their attitude and how they did it, so.
Because I didn't realize that airport did carry over, so any unexpended funds from 2019 was their beginning balance.
So it can still be used for what they allocated.
It's in that, in your report there where it says airport, and it says beginning, it's
Right,
7,000.
yeah.
Yep, that's good, thank you.
They will be encouraged.
They will be very
They thought
encouraged.
they lost that because they didn't spend it.
No.
They said if we'd have spent it, well, and we're trying to,
They can't stay.
And we're trying to make them spend it timely, but if sometimes things happen, and that's what
well,
happened in this case.
and as needed, not just spend it.
Not, that's right, don't wanna
Just
have
to spend
just
it,
to
but-
spend it on
Just to
pencils.
spend it.
So,
Yeah, cause they worked real hard at adjusting the budget for this next year, and they didn't wanna, that $7,000 loss was a big deal, if it had been that way.
yeah, and I guess I'm learning something here. When we went through the budget process, does that, let's use airport for example, does that $7,700 come into play in consideration of their budget? I was assuming they were zero based and whatever they were budgeting was from there on, so.
I think if they're gonna carry over from 2019, the budget should reflect that amount in the budget, and it's still the same cap, not in a,
Right.
we didn't expand their budget by $7,000.
But my point is, when we
But
went
we
through the
didn't-
budget process,
We thought
we
it was
didn't know
gone.
that,
We
correct?
didn't know it would've been there.
Because I didn't pay attention to this. Had we paid attention to this, we'd have known that, correct?
That's right.
But I
And-
didn't, so.
And they, so if they had that already allocated, that's fine. They made their new budget
You're-
based upon the new year, haven't spent that, so that
You're
would have
doing
been
the
there.
budget in October, so you don't
Yeah.
know what their
We won't
ending
know
That's
what
right.
balance
it
is
is,
gonna
that's
be.
true.
That's right. So
Yeah.
this is good to know. They didn't.
So the carryover dollars never really show up because we do the budget process early.
Well, in the budget process, you have what you spent the year before,
We assume.
what you have spent so far this
Right.
year.
What
and
they
then
got
you look
allocated to spend. and
Right,
that's-
so
they
if
didn't
you
get it
see
spent.
what he has sitting there, but you don't know what their
But-
expenses are
right.
either.
We
That's
thought
right.
that was, Yeah, we
So
thought
that-
that went back to the
This is
general
very
fund.
good to understand.
Well, yeah, exactly. The learning curve for me is going up here because we can go back to these and say, okay, what did you, the year before, what was your beginning balance, and then go from there, so. Okay, motion to approve, gentlemen?
I move we approve her report. As presented.
I'll second it. It's been moved and seconded to approve the treasurer's report for the month of January. Further discussion? We never really did ask you if there was anything in here that was glaring, but hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor of approving, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Way to go, Virginia. You know,
Thank you, ma'am.
We were only 15 minutes behind before you got here, and you caught us up 2 more minutes.
Here you go, Kelly. Thank you.
So just so you know, most likely one of us will have a motion to postpone the committed fund balance
To
until,
decide what's going
yeah.
on, okay.
Redefine it.
would you be able to have a conversation with him before our 19th meeting in Wetmore? Okay. So most likely we'll move this to postpone it to February 19th.
Maybe she should work with, if you get it resolved to something we can look at, maybe Clint can rewrite the resolution to be reflective of what you guys
Yeah.
think is the right thing. So we got something to discuss.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Okay, I think that concludes the meeting for today. Not. Concludes our staff reports. Unfinished business, gentlemen, that I'm not aware of. Okay, we'll move on. New business. We'll allow public comment during the items of new business prior to the vote. Certainly, Miss Ashley, want to encourage you, if you have a question, you just raise your hand and we'll deal with it, all right? So, first item of business, good morning, sir. Consideration of signing a letter to the Colorado Department of Transportation. Commissioner Kanda, would you like to take the lead?
Sure, I didn't. Did you get a copy of that? Yeah. All right.
Thank you, ma'am.
And this is the copy that I sent to you guys earlier.
Yeah, this was the draft. I just
Draft.
took draft off
Yeah.
of it.
And I didn't have anything to add to it. We all did that. I think I would move that we accept this. And I guess we discussed whether we want to sign it now, and
Yeah,
this is
we'll-
our
we
final
can-
one. You
We
want-
can have that discussion during debate, yeah.
Okay, so I move
Okay.
we
Is there a
accept this
second?
letter.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded to authorize the signing of a letter of agreement to Colorado Department of Transportation on behalf of the county, which eventually will include the towns of Silver Cliff and West Cliff. Further discussion? That was my thought, that if this motion passed, we would sign it. We'll pick a copy and then
I think that's the
circulate
right
that.
way to do it, and I can hand run it.
Okay. Question for council, does this need a date on it, sir?
I think it'd be better if we dated it, yeah.
That's what I thought, because it'll start floating around in there.
Which one did I sign?
So maybe quickly we can, do you have a digital copy of this, Kara? Can we,
Where would you
well,
put it? You put it in the body, or?
I think we put it below the signature line.
Yeah, so
That would be
it's
the
gonna
easy
be
way to do
different
it.
dates, so I think there should be a separate date for
I've got
each.
it. So let me pull
You
it
could
up.
put it in by
Then you don't have
hand.
to scan it. Well,
Put the line in,
Put the line in,
and
because
then we hand put in the date.
Yes.
correct, because we don't know the date they're gonna sign it.
Right, they can sign their own
So,
dates.
give me just a second
That's a
here.
great idea.
Computer's being weird.
Are you doing it or just
So,
Kara
yeah, I'll
doing
do it. So, the date
Sorry,
line should
Carrie.
be below the signatures, council?
Yeah, that's what I would suggest.
Just put date in a line.
forms, Ashley, have we convinced you not to go into public office?
It's hard to,
You gotta sit here, see, this is
can't
just,
take the excitement day after day.
Date signed, council, or just date? Because it really is a date signed.
Date signed with the colon would be the best way to do it.
putting it on each one.
Yeah. Yeah, because each signature's gonna be signed different time, so. So, let me send this to the printer again. So these become obsolete. Take those if you want. Mr. J.
Hand it here and I'll throw them in the trash.
And Clint's copy as well. I did 4, better do another one, huh? You need a copy? Let me print one more, I only did 4, because that's what my print setting was. So will you want a final signed copy, or are you just concerned about the commissioner's signature? So we will have to assign that.
Or the original, what are you gonna do with the original?
I'm the original.
The original will go around, yes. We're only signing one copy a day.
Right.
For the original. So Commissioner Kanda, would you?
Is the original done on leather?
I don't think it matters, really. I mean, Mr. Canada's gonna be the point of contact, so it really originates from the commissioners. We'll keep the original
Mine
here.
are keep it. We're representing.
You know, I think we ought to sign 3 of them, each one get an original. Yeah, 3 originals signed.
Yeah,
Just
so they have
yeah, because they may want an
Each
original as
entity
well.
has an original.
Yeah.
Why not?
Thank you, ma'am.
But the sound system is really sensitive now,
Yes,
isn't it?
it is. We'll let our sound technician adjust, so. Further discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed nay. Motion carries. So, we'll sign 3 copies. So if you gentlemen want to sign your own copy, and then we'll pass them around. Oh, no.
No,
we
no,
don't
it's
sign.
just
We
you.
don't sign,
You get
that's
to
right.
sign 3 times.
Okay. Sorry, I was thinking we.
It had 3 signatures, it's just normal.
One clicks too.
Just these are all right, I think. And so the intent then would ask Commissioner Kanda to bring back a signed copy.
Roger
for-
that, and I'll have Kelly stamp
We'll
it.
give that to Kelly, huh?
Right
He's
now,
gotta
I'm
take
gonna
them
come back.
to
Yeah.
Silver Cliff and Westwood. Okay. All right. I did, didn't I? Thank you, ma'am.
Paid attention because his signature. Everything else is dated. Thanks.
You're welcome. Thanks for catching that, Kelly.
That's why we paid the big bucks.
So the next item of business is consideration of creating a committed fund balance. I would move that we postpone this item until February 19th.
I'll second.
Moving and seconded to postpone. Discussion. Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed nay. Motion carries. would ask Ms. Kara to put that on the agenda for the February 19th meeting in Wetmore. Next item of business, consideration of selecting the number of candidates to interview. Let me make a quick phone call here. Hey, was Rusty, did he have a chance to come in? Okay, all right, we'll wait. Thanks. Okay, bye. Donna's on her way over. Sorry. Ms. Kara? Could we get 4 copies of these questions, please?
Can we take a break?
Yes, we can. Donna's on her way over, so this will probably be a good time. We will be in recess for 5 minutes.
Turn off your mics. You always keep yourself silent.
I, what Vernon tells me.
Are you? Good, thanks.
show it is 11:06. And the next item of business is considering, pardon? Oh. Yeah. Consideration of selecting number of candidates. Come on in, sir. Or are you waiting? Oh, yeah. You got the note from Miss Donna about the 12th? Does that work for you? Yeah. So probably not necessary, but the chair wants to remind everybody of confidentiality. We will not be referencing any names of applicants today. Really, we're just talking about the number of applicants that we feel we need to interview. So I guess for lack of anything else, I'll start. I reviewed the applications. I would recommend we interview 3. Commissioner Kanda? Sorry. Commissioner Prince, go ahead.
I'm sorry, that's fine.
Yeah, I debated that. I felt 2, but I can go with 3
Okay.
times.
Well, for now, let's just get it on the table and then we'll, your thoughts, sir?
I'm fine with the 3. I think we all have
I
the
think
same
that's
3
fine.
Um, What do you think, Rusty? You've had a chance to review the applications? 3? And Miss Donna?
Can I just show you the sheet?
Sure.
Yeah, yep.
Okay.
Thank you. Oh,
And it
sorry.
kind of ends up,
Okay. We'll just review it real quick. So the candidates with the X's were representing what?
a choice of.
Oh, ranking?
Yes, to be in.
So that, okay,
And not in any order except one person's.
okay, I got you.
Because of confidentiality and the laws of employment and stuff, we're very, very careful about giving names and talking about that. That's why we go by numbers and stuff. Can I add my third X?
If he
I
wants
only
3,
had
he can
2,
add.
but
Okay.
I've really thought about this third
Okay.
person. Thank you.
Well, we can interview whatever number we want. That's true. That's why I thought we'd start with how many would you like to interview, and then we'll compare that to this, and it may be a change, but, Ms. Kara, would it be appropriate for us to make copies of this so we can look at it and not have to pass it back and forth? Thank you. Because your point may come into play, easily, so she's gonna make some copies for us.
Scotty, get up at 4 again?
Just a side note, we're still gonna go over to the sheriff's office after?
Yes. Yep. And we're about to wrap up here, so I may have Kara call them.
That'd be great. Do you know if they have lunch ready for us yet?
They do not.
Unless you want.
I can almost guarantee you they don't.
That was a joke.
Thank you, ma'am.
Why, thank you.
So you had made a note there, I didn't actually see that when we passed it around, that you had listed
There's
4
five
names.
numbers, but
Yeah,
it was
okay,
4 because that's
okay, all right,
the even
got you,
Stevenness of it.
okay. So I think we're okay to refer by candidate number for this conversation, gentlemen, are you okay with that?
You bet.
Can I revise my suggestion?
Just where I was headed, but go ahead, yes, sir.
I think we should interview 4 candidates, the top 4 candidates, because it's not just an idle agreement. There's multiples on the 4th one. So I would recommend we do 4.
Yeah, I was actually thinking of making a recommendation too, but it wasn't gonna be the same as you just did, sir, so, well, I was, based on this document, I was prepared to change my suggestion of interviewing 2, which I was going just the opposite direction than Commissioner Prince was headed, but I don't have a huge buy-in really one way or the other.
The way I read it, I can understand the other 2 that were added by other people's perspectives. However, when I looked at them, the top 2 stuck out more than any of them.
Absolutely agree with that.
So I don't know why, especially given where some of them are coming from and the time that we would take and impose upon them too, I don't think it's fair. I think it would be better.
And when
Cut
you
it
say
down.
your top 2, we don't know who that was,
Correct.
because you didn't rank those.
I did.
Not on this sheet.
Oh, no, I didn't put it on there.
So I don't, and it may not matter, I don't care, but let's say your number 1 or 2 ranking didn't show up on 2 other people's, then I think it would be relevant,
Right.
but,
So, you know, I think how you want to do
So
it.
were you thinking candidate 1 and 2?
that's
the 2?
what I was thinking of because of the way the X's fell out on this sheet.
And that's
but
the way my ranking came out.
Oh, well, okay, so you were 1 or 2 on these?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm fine with that.
I don't wanna get way in the weeds, but part of me wants to justify why I think we should or
You don't
shouldn't
have to, Tom.
interview,
Justify
but,
anything. If we have candidates we feel are the most qualified, we ought to interview. If candidates that we feel are not qualified, we should not interview. Let's not waste their time, let's not waste our time.
That's where
You know, the only reason I said 4 is because candidate 3 and 4 each have the same amount of.
Right.
which is not.
So I was thinking, you know, I
Which
would hate to exclude, I would hate to go, I'd either go to 2 or to 4, I would not want to do 3, like I originally mentioned. Because candidate 3 and 4 have the same amount of X's.
true, but the X's by themselves aren't really
They don't mean
critical
much.
Yeah,
because it's
that's
the
right.
ranking. If
That's
my,
right.
it's,
Right.
let's say that, let's use Commissioner Candace, that his candidate number 3 happened to be his first ranked person.
Right.
So, as is the situation with myself, my second highest ranking person,
Well, maybe this would be better if we just took a moment and
And
put a
ranked 'em.
ranking on them, and then look at this again. Would
Okay.
that be
Yeah,
okay?
I
Because
agree.
I have my ranking, but it's not listed on here.
I think it'd make it a little easier.
I see it on
So
yours,
if you wanna
Tom.
rank yours,
Yeah, let me rank
Sure.
mine.
and then you can share that with us, so. And Rusty, you're welcome to do the same if you wanna rank yours.
I need to look at my folder.
Do you want me to go grab
Yeah, let
them?
me see that real quick. I want to make sure I didn't screw up the folder.
You wanna tell me your ranking, do you know it? If you have, if you don't have it, it doesn't matter, it's not, I don't think it's absolutely. No, first, second, or third, sorry.
I may have put my X wrong because I did not see my folder, so let me
I
see.
mean, if it came down to it, the question would be, if we were only gonna interview 2, which ones would you recommend us interviewing? Okay,
What was the numbers? 1 and 2?
In that order, candidate 1 was your first rank, 2 was your second, and 4 was your third.
Right.
Okay, all right. I think that'll help, don't you?
I do. And I'm gonna eat my recommendation.
Yeah,
one
well,
and
it's,
go. Let's go to
this is
2.
very change,
Yeah, this
changing
changes- this
thing here.
changes
There's
it.
Jay's,
And
just in that order. I know from my previous life, we would rank all these, we would add up, and then whatever the rankings were, that's, you know, so, which, we can say, we wanna interview X number, and then we figure out the rankings to figure out who those are, but.
I'm comfortable if you wanna do 2. Because I think we're all pretty much on the same page with who.
And I don't wanna exclude Miss Donna, again, you're welcome
And
to.
I was right in there with y'all, so, yeah, I just,
Okay.
it's,
Because I really
all
value
are
what you have.
like-minded, it just depends how many.
Right.
Donna, I care what you have to say.
Oh, you do?
I do. I don't care what he says, I care what you say.
I had my X right, I'm just getting my order.
Okay.
And a side note on landfill items, we have a pre-deposit notice for the skid steer reimbursement. Way to go, Kara.
Oh, yeah?
So it's sitting out there,
Good.
it'll probably hit tomorrow or the next
Okay.
day.
So we'll get that from the grantors. Perfect.
So we let a road and bridge person, when they retire, keep their phone. Does Rusty get to keep like a skid steer or anything?
Yeah, he gets the skid steer.
I'm with you on that.
So this is your number 2,
Pick up.
number
skid
1, number
steer.
3.
I think a pickup.
A grader
We
for the
fought pretty
driveways.
hard to get you that.
I got used to that.
That's Bill's.
Okay, I'm cool.
So given this, yeah, I'm okay with interviewing 2. For obvious reasons, I hesitate a little because,
Well, the third person does have the votes.
I think it's a bigger gap.
let's see.
No, you're right.
Okay, I'll move that we interview, I don't even know if this takes a motion, but I'll just do it so we can get this thing moving along. I move that we interview candidate number 1 and candidate number 2.
I'll second.
We moved and seconded to interview 2 candidates, those being candidate number 1 and candidate number 2. Discussion?
Are we, yes, my
Go ahead,
discussion
yep.
would be, would we, if we do that, will we be unfair to any of the other candidates who applied? Or will we be responsible in the way we handle it by not giving the 2 other candidates who have received votes an opportunity? That's my question.
And I've got 2 thoughts about that. Number 1, had we not reviewed the applications, then certainly we'd be remiss.
I agree.
Number 2, for me personally, if I felt super strong, I would be arguing to amend your motion to 3.
Yeah, I'm sort of the same way, I think candidates 1, 2, and 3 are qualified. And I think there's a bigger gap. So I could go either way, but I'm good with 2.
Yeah, and I'm just trying to sort this out. Candidate 3 and candidate 4, same emphasis put on both of those candidates really, but,
Well, I thought.
well, not by
I thought,
ranking.
I thought 3 was better than 4.
But not better than 1 and 2. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is.
1 and 2 makes sense. But I sure don't want to shortchange anybody.
Well, yeah, I
I'm
understand.
certainly not going to interview all 6 candidates. That
Yeah.
makes no sense.
You wouldn't have any problem didn't ask me.
You wanna just interview the two candidates, I think that's fine.
Can I throw in my 2 cents?
You may.
Please.
When I hired my elections person, I was not going to interview her. And then somebody said, well, you know, once you talk to her, it might make a difference. I hired her, and that was one of my best hires. Because her interview was different from her
That's true.
application.
Yeah, and certainly there's that possibility. Now, so let's just say, I'm just trying to play this out, let's just say we amended the motion and it passed to hire 3, then we'd have to determine which 3. So we'd have to go through that process again, because there's nothing automatic here.
Well, if you're gonna go with that logic, you really ought to go to 4. Because candidate number 4 got the same amount of,
That's true.
Yeah, but a different ranking,
I understand that.
so.
I just don't wanna waste their time.
Well, and I don't know. I guess it wouldn't be a great concern of mine about wasting their time, because we're talking about a half hour. And they, I don't know, I keep sorting out differently. I don't mean to be argumentative, but if we decided to interview 3, then we'd have to pick which 3. I don't automatically say, well, let's do 4 so we don't have to pick 3. See what I'm saying? But,
Well, just looking at this paper, I can't differentiate between candidate 3 and candidate 4.
oh, see, and I do based on how they ranked. You didn't have, you're missing a ranking there
Well,
somewhere.
that's a good reason.
Right there. Sorry. Yeah, you need to write his in, because I think it'll make a difference for you. And then Rusty's was that order. Sorry.
Thank you.
So now maybe what I was saying might make sense to you. I didn't realize you didn't have those, so.
I'm good with 2.
So the motion is to interview 2. Further discussion about that. Either one of you folks have anything else? Further discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor of interviewing 2 candidates, those being candidates number 1 and candidate number 2 from Donna's sheet, in no particular order, correct? You just assigned a name and a number to them. Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Can I have those sheets back then, gentlemen, and we'll give those back to Miss Donna.
Perfect.
So you would move forward on trying to get an interview date and time?
A lot of crazy stuff.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks for doing that. Appreciate it. Yeah, sorry, I didn't
It's fine.
realize you didn't
I
have
didn't have
those
all the
rankings, 'cause I
information,
was-
that's why
yeah.
I was
Yeah,
wavering.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so, will you make efforts towards that today yet, or?
I should know by the end of
Okay,
the day.
all right, so if you would just shoot us an email,
I'll just send you the interview
either way.
schedule.
Okay,
That's basically.
perfect, yeah. And given that, gentlemen, are you okay with staying at 9? Do you want to move that to 10, or, that's the way I think, we just jump on it.
9 o'clock's fine.
And so then a question, follow-up question is, do we, council, is that a workshop? Is that executive session? What would that
Not
look like?
executive session, but it's a confidential hire, so I'd call it a workshop, but
Okay.
not open to the.
So we did
Okay.
before, didn't we?
Right.
And we kept it
Yeah.
to
And when
numbers,
we,
not
when we
names.
ended up getting Kara, we did it that way.
Do we, sorry,
Gary, you were just a number.
so then we go through the process, but we make a determination at the following meeting.
Correct.
So we need to have on the agenda on the 19th to offer a contract for landfill manager.
It's not a contract position.
No, sorry, offer a position, yeah.
Yeah.
Donna, you were gonna,
That
yeah, I mean, so here we go. We could call a special meeting,
Meeting following the workshop.
You know, and that may be.
yeah,
That may
and
be.
maybe
I would really recommend we do that. Thank you, council.
Chair would
because-
entertain a motion to that effect.
Okay, I move that we have a workshop.
No.
Was it,
Special meeting.
no,
Oh, workshop, I'm interrupted, sorry.
it's the workshop on the 20th.
No,
What day are we doing?
12th.
The 12th. And upon the culmination of the workshop, we will have a special meeting for the sole purpose of selecting, making an offer to a replacement
Landfill manager.
manager. Yeah.
I'll second the motion. Been moved and seconded that we schedule a commissioner workshop on February the 12th starting at 9 a.m. and subsequent special meeting at the conclusion of that. I don't think we need a time,
I
but
don't think so.
it'd be hard to pick one. And a subsequent commissioner special meeting at the conclusion of the workshop for the purpose of offering a position to new landfill manager. Discussion? Actually, I need a second, sorry.
Got a second.
Oh, I did, okay. I'm restating, sorry, yeah. Further discussion, gentlemen? Council, you okay with not having a time on that as far as the posting goes?
I think it'd be better to have a time,
Okay.
but we just keep the door shut until the private workshop is finished.
So, we're allowing 45 minutes per interview, correct?
And I had wrote 9 for one, 9:45 for another, 10:30 discussion, and then I was gonna write.
11 o'clock?
Okay, so now, nine, sorry, your discussion time was what?
At 10:30 at the finish of the.
Okay, to discuss after we'd interview the candidates.
The
And should,
discussion
that
probably
discussion
be
should occur during the special meeting, actually,
referring
so,
to the candidates by number only.
right. So we're okay to discuss that, right? Or should we do it,
I
that
would
discussion
say-
should occur in the special meeting?
Special meeting, you can have your discussion, because you're gonna be
Okay.
making a decision ultimately.
So then we would interview at 9:45, conclude at 10:30. So then we could schedule a time at 10:30 for the special meeting. Does that make sense, gentlemen? Because I was thinking about the posting, if we didn't have a time
Yeah.
for a special meeting, we probably should have a time. If we're running a little late, then we're running a little late. But does that make sense, Miss Donna?
Just
Okay.
like you.
Right. So 9:45 to interview, and then commissioner meeting at 10:30. Now, all of that really is gonna be predicated on whether or not we have any candidates to interview. Because we're still in a tentative basis until we get confirmation, but,
So I will, as soon as I get over there, I'll start calling.
okay.
Well, let's talk about that in just seconds. What if one of them can't or doesn't?
Yeah,
Do we
then-
just auto default to the next one? Why-
No, I think then we have to negotiate the date between us and the candidate.
And if one or both could not make them, would a conference interview be acceptable?
One of the candidates is from out of town. Gentlemen, your opinion, thoughts on that?
I really like to talk to him and see him
I
and
do too.
personally.
How
but-
about, and maybe we talked about this, what about the 13th?
Well, we have the Upper Arkansas.
You're gonna be gone, right? Are you going to that landfill training or no?
I was going to wait, and if we had somebody on board,
Try
I
to
would
take
it
'em.
down there.
You wouldn't go on your own.
No sense
Probably,
in me going
yeah.
down there because I already know the inspector and our permitting person that are gonna be there.
And
So
gentlemen,
I
you-
would basically just go down and introduce them
Right.
to the new manager.
so you may or may not know that there's a landfill training in the Canyon City area. The Canyon City Area Recreational District is putting on a landfill training on the 13th.
Wouldn't it be great if we had somebody hired who could,
Yeah, and ask them to go. couldn't really make it a requirement, because we're probably not gonna put them under.
Be wonderful if it could work out where they could go. I'm not
You
gonna.
would be available if we had a new hire. If we can't make the 12th work, then I would recommend the 13th as a second date. Are you
Well, we
guys
have
okay with that?
Upper Arkansas, and Salida is on the 13th.
Upper Ark Water?
Yeah. So I would say, if we're gonna do that, I'd rather go the 14th.
Yeah, and I'm out of town.
Oh, that's right, I forgot.
But I didn't have Upper Ark written down either, so that's.
Yeah, and then early childhood development is later in the afternoon.
Yeah, and that's a week,
Well,
Let's face this, if one of them can't, and then we can decide where we go with it.
I will, as soon as I know the availability, I will just let you know real quick.
Upper Ark starts at 1.
yeah. Yeah, that's true. Upper Ark starts at 1.
That's
and
right.
They leave here at noon. So we could probably make the 13th work.
Yeah, let's see if the 12th doesn't, let's go ahead and fall back on
13th.
maybe
for a
even
second date.
8:30 on the 13th, if we need to come a little bit earlier, just to make sure.
Tight, you can get out of here.
It's all right.
So 13th's a secondary date? 9 o'clock? Okay, thank you. Thanks, Rusty. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
You bet.
Yeah, if they quit the construction, we can make pretty good time.
Oh, we tabled this, right?
Yes,
seeing a
we
new one
did
of
table
these.
that. We had a motion to table the committed fund balance, correct, Kelly? Any additional items come before the commission at this time?
One thing I wanna discuss, they can do it in public, but it's just the letter, the CDOT that we looked at.
Correct.
And all that has is, this is written per their words that CDOT gave them. And they took out the 48 strands, et cetera. So this is just a formality to get CDOT to react to the county actually asking for the right of way, not some contractor.
I'm fine with the letter. The only thing I would recommend, since we just are working on this intergovernmental
I wanna run this by
agency.
the two towns.
Thank you.
Just wanna make sure we were good before I did that.
I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah, I haven't read it word for word, but the part that concerned me is still in here, and I'm still concerned about that. And that is in the third paragraph, in exchange for CDOT's authorization for use of its right-of-way, we propose to provide CDOT with a minimum of 2 conduits. That means we are going to pay for those conduits. It reads to me that way.
The program, maybe I'll say it differently. CDOT will grant the right of way, and that's what they do normally, is they provide them with two empty conduits for their use after fiber, or after we pull the whole thing, that's all that.
But who's buying the conduit for them?
Exactly.
Huh?
Who's
It's
buying
part
the
of
conduit?
program. It's paid with the funds that we get from the grant. So we would be
So we're gonna pay for the conduit for them.
the program does not.
It's
Well,
our,
we
it's
being
our money,
Custer County, Silver Cliff, and
Right.
Westcliff.
It's
Right.
part
We're
of the
receiving
Once
the
we get
grant.
Then
we are the ones who will be paying for the
Right.
conduit for
Part of
CDOT.
the,
Okay, I'm
cables there.
just
It's
trying to
part
make
of it.
sure I
Yeah, that's
understand.
exactly what it means.
So the grant then might be a better way than saying we, but the grant dollars will purchase 3 conduits then.
It may be more than that, I don't know, we gotta see what the engineering says.
How many
They're
we
pulling
need?
in- They're gonna arrive at whatever the bundle is of
Right.
fibers. And then, in addition to that bundle, is gonna be 2 empty conduits for CDOT to use in their future. If we wanna reword that, I can get it reworded. These are the words that they pulled off of the CDOT's programs they've already done. This is not Carmel talking, it's CDOT's words on the stuff they work with other communities.
So CDOT's really saying they need 2 conduits?
Correct. Yes, and that, and then in exchange, they grant us the rights of way for those two, and the,
So what they're really saying is, let me just kind of summarize the way my little pea brain is going. What they're really saying is, if they will let us use their right-of-way, provided our payment to them would be to install 2 additional conduits for them to use.
that's correct, and then
Got
that's why the next sentence says, and then give us a cash value of that right of way so that we can use that.
This is a grant match. Sure, I get that, and I'm fine with that.
That's all that means.
So it's kind of like, they're getting 2 conduits
At
laid
our
through
labor
their
and
right-of-way at our cost and our labor, but it's their right-of-way. I mean, that's a workable situation. I don't
That's
have any
what they
problem
do
with
with
that.
these other, they've done it 13 times according to Burger
Right.
in the past.
And so there's no language in here about, other than the last few words in paragraph number 3, there's no language in here about us putting in fiber. This really just talks about the 2 conduits for CDOT. It says, I know it says for our proposed fiber installation along state highways, but
And I agree with you, but it ought to
because-
say 2 for
2 for them,
CDOT
how many for
and
us?
as many as
In
we
addition
feel
to
is
the
appropriate.
ones that are required for our program, maybe
And
that.
and I think those words would be I would feel very comfortable with those way added.
We can have do that.
Okay.
Uh,
Let's just circulate this.
yeah, because
Because I don't
it's-
want them to come back, I'm sorry,
That's
I
okay. Go
interrupted.
ahead. No problem.
I don't want CDOT to come back and say, wait a minute, you're only getting 1 and we really need 3, or whatever we need. So,
And here's the problem for me. This is not gonna be an open ditch installation.
Oh, no.
So for every conduit, that's gonna be plowed in with a dozer, it's gonna be bored in under whatever roads.
It's gonna be, well, I gotta get, I don't know what the technique is, Tom. They're gonna make one pass, and it's gonna lay in 3, 4, 5, 8 conduits, depending on the machine, I don't know. That's, all I know is, it's the program they use in the process, so let me ask that question. Cause they're not gonna run 3 separate times on the right of way, laying down each conduit separate. That's not
right,
how it works.
I mean, if you looked at what was just done on our highways just recently, it's the same right-of-way.
So
It was
here's
one
my
ditch, and who knows
understanding.
how many they put in there.
This is what I think it is.
One conduit.
It's one conduit with the fibers. This is one conduit that has 3
I got it.
different conduits inside it. So it's laying one pipe, I don't know how big it is, but not that big. And it goes into the trench, and they've got 2 empty conduits so they can pull their own cables. Our cable will be in a separate conduit.
A separate conduit from theirs.
Which would
No.
be another plow job.
No, I don't have
No.
it that way. It's a
Okay,
separate
one-
conduit within the pipe itself. That's
Okay, but
what I
the pipe's
understand.
gonna need to be big enough to accommodate
Put in
their
3
2 and as many
conduits.
as we
That's
need.
correct. And so that's what it means. I can have them rewrite it. And I asked them to keep it simple and to the point with what CDOT was requesting. So
Sure.
I can run that by them again.
But I still think we need to be very cognizant of what we need out of it, not just meeting the demands of CDOT. So that's
So we'll say,
why I
in
bring
addition
it
to
up.
our, in the.
To
it'll
the
be
CDOT
2
conduits.
That's right, the 2 CDOT conduits along with the municipal, or the county's conduit for our program. Is what,
However many that takes.
however many that takes.
Whatever
Let me
they're sized
make
out
sure, I think
Yeah,
it's only one.
You
because
understand.
You get 1,000 fibers in a little tiny area.
I get it.
Yeah, that was my concern, was it just didn't address that, and I didn't, again, this was the first mention of 2 conduits for CDOT.
They actually,
I
they
was
did
aware of
mention at another meeting, Tom, but they've always said they will do it as long as we give them a cable to use, and that's how they've been stated, so. We've got 2, we know they're asking for 2, and so we're getting it for fine.
Okay.
Good deal for them.
Right, and then what I wanna do, we don't need to have a special meeting, I just wanna coordinate this with us, and I'm gonna take our agree to, but it looks good, and I'll make sure the mayors agree before we do anything with this letter, before I send it out.
So this is coming from you, correct?
Right, it's representing the county and the municipality, instead of operating to our
So, to try to streamline things, I would recommend we edit it right now, and that's the edit you carry, that's the version
That's
you
good.
carry
That's
forward.
yeah.
Then we don't have to come back.
That's fine.
Let's do it.
So on paragraph 3, in exchange for CDOT's authorization for use of its right-of-ways, we propose to provide CDOT with a minimum of 2 2-inch conduits. Those are huge.
That's it.
In addition, and then I would add to the end of that, in addition to the conduits required
Right.
to fulfill the
Right.
project.
Right.
So 2 2-inch conduits, one be used for power, the other designated for fiber optic, and after the word use,
Yeah.
and the appropriate number and size of conduits to meet the needs of Silver Cliff, West Cliff, and the county?
No,
Pro-
just
I'd put
our
the,
fiber
I'd put the project, I just put the
Project.
project. I mean, this whole thing's about the project. I mean, I think
All right,
that's very
so
clear.
I'll read that sentence again. In exchange for CDOT's authorization for use of its right-of-way, we propose to provide CDOT with a minimum of 2 2-inch conduits, one to be used for power and the other designated for fiber optic cable for CDOT's future use,
In addition to.
and, I had written and the appropriate number and size of conduits to meet the needs of the project.
That works.
And then we also request CDOT establish a monetary value. Probably should be of the CDOT right-of-way instead of on,
Right away.
yeah, not on the right-of-way, but of,
Of the.
for our proposed fiber installation along state highways 50, 69, 96, and I-25. So my question then is, why is Highway 96 in there?
Because remember we talked about, in order to meet the requirement for the rural, grant, you have to have, 10, anything less, above 10 and 1, 10, 1, 10, up, 10 down, 1 up. You had to have 90% of the population, so we have to get a count. CDOT's getting a count of what they're supplying that capability to, and so down 96 is an empty space that is not gonna be connected except by this program. So they'll plow down, which accomplishes 2 things, and one was this program, in addition to meeting the problem we have with the Wetmore outage, to be able to connect that.
So the initial conversation was to close this ring. It didn't have anything to do with Highway
That's right.
96.
That's correct.
So now Highway 96 is in the mix?
Part of the program, yeah. And that was, in order to meet the requirements, to get the money. And that would include the money for all of this, not just the loop. Which, by the way, also helps, defend the requirement, because in order to get more reliable capability, they need to close the loop regardless. CenturyLink was a terrible connection. It's not reliable.
Well, I wonder if CenturyLink then is going to be willing to consider tying into the fiber they just plowed in?
No, they're willing to actually use it in the end. They would be willing to use additional fibers that we would have. Our fiber is gonna include some, what they call dark fiber anyway. CenturyLink, I've talked with Tim, and discussed it in our meetings, is more than happy to consider other fiber for their, use as well. They
So-
would purchase that.
If this project comes to fruition, then we would be plowing another set of
No,
conduits on Highway 96?
yes,
And tying in,
and CenturyLink can buy a fiber and use it for their use as well if they want. But we're gonna tie it in for sure to the phone issue.
and is that conduit, I wonder if they're gonna try to tie into CenturyLink's conduit that they plowed in down in Greenwood.
Maybe, I don't know, that's something that has to be worked out when you get to the point. This is the grant writing stage. Once they get into the engineering for that grant, that'll be determined.
And you want your name as Bill Cander or
No,
William
I
R?
want to put William R.
All right, let's make that change then right now.
Good.
I think it's good.
And so this is going to Pfeiffer.
That's our formal request as a government entity,
Correct.
representing the whole county. That's what they need in order to act on it.
And so you'll take, sorry,
What we do
and
is
so
I'll
you'll
take
take this to both the other two entities
Broadband
before you
internet.
send this.
We're bringing fiber, really, we're bringing it to major loop.
We had a motion,
Very expensive,
correct?
long-term project, but this is Lake One.
Okay, further discussion on the motion to approve the letter to Bob Pfeiffer? As we, yeah. Oh, okay. Couldn't remember. I think we just got started.
Oh.
Okay.
Go for it.
I move we accept the letter as amended and send it, coordinate it with the counties and towns and send it to CDOT.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded to authorize a letter to be sent to CDOT, eventually on behalf of the three entities. Further discussion? Do you want me to send you guys a copy of this amended letter now or not?
Yeah.
Or do we just need?
I don't really need it now. I would like it, once it's signed, I would like it to put in my file.
I'll sign it once I get the
Okay.
coordination.
Right, once they all agree, send me a copy of the signed one, that's what I would prefer.
I need a soft copy of it.
Further discussion, I'll send it to you. Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. I hope I just didn't lose it. Give me just a second here.
It's in your draft. Anybody call the sheriff up, expecting something?
I did not call him, no.
Do you mind? Tell them we'll be there about
Be
noon.
there in 10 minutes or something.
Thank you, ma'am.
I had saved it. I didn't realize what name it saved it under, so. Yes, so you want, we'll print this out? Is that what you're after?
Print it and send me the soft copy.
And again, do we need 3 copies of this or not?
I'll send the sign.
Oh,
One for Silver Cliff, one for us,
Yeah.
one for
Yeah, why
Weston,
don't we make that?
I would do that.
and one for,
Once I get it signed, I'll
So I'm
send
gonna-
it back in.
I'm gonna print 4 copies. Anything else, gentlemen, come before the meeting?
No, sir. I move that we adjourn.
Any public comment? Sorry, don't mean to ignore you. Any comments, questions, Okay, good. Thank you
So
for being here
quiet.
today.
I thought you'd be asking
Appreciate
questions,
it.
yelling at us or something.
I'll second the motion. It's been moved and seconded to adjourn. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Aye, opposed, nay. Motion carries. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you for being here.